the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Shalom, shalom. Come on in. Blessings.
The East is where we're from.
We're from the East. Shalom, brothers and sisters.
12 tribes of Israel. 721 BC. The Assyrian king.
He took us down without.
With a great escape we went
Through the Euphrates.
The Lord held the water still.
Shalom, blessings, blessings. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel.
We be Manasseh.
Come on, hit the like button, hit the like button.
From Puerto Rico.
Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel.
From Panama. Get the North American Indians. Simeon, the Dominicans. AHAYAH gather in Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us.
In the belly of
These great ships we traveled and fed by the rivers of
hit the like button, hit the like button.
brothers here. AHAYAH gather us in Colombia. Reuben from Australia. Issachar, the Mexicans. AHAYAH's gathering Israel. Judah, the Negroes.
You.
Benjamin, the West Indians. Levi, the Haitians.
Shalom, shalom. Come on in, come on in.
Asher in Colombia.
Reuben from Australia.
Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. We be Judah, the Negroes. Benjamin, the West Indians.
Hit the like button.
Levi, the Haitians.
Let's go.
Manasseh, the Cubans. Ephraim from Puerto Rico.
Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii.
The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama. Get the North American Indians.
Come on.
Simeon, the Dominicans. AHAYAH's gathering Israel.
That's right, brothers and sisters. The Most High's gather in Israel. I'm Elder Rakar Shiar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly broadcast, podcast, whatever you would like to call it. And thank you, brothers and sisters, for all your participation and all you do to make Wednesday nights quite interesting. Shalom, shalom, shalom. There's a lot I would like to talk about tonight, but we're going to jump right in. Is the world prepared? Well, hey, the title speaks for itself. The world is not prepared for what's coming. Someone says my picture is very blue. Okay, hey. Well, I'm still trying to adjust this new camera here. I think, Elder Lawyer, we're dealing with a similar issue. But hold up. I got my people out there. So Bishop Anya says I'm kind of blue right now. So let me see if I could go into some of the settings. Help me out, if you will. All right. What we're going to do here. Right? That's good. That's better, right? That should be a little better. That's good, right? I hope that's good. Well, that's the best we can do right now, folks. I'd rather get into the content and what I need to discuss more so than trying to work with this camera right now. So, is this okay? Am I looking like myself here? Right? Is this all right? Well, that's the best it's going to get. There you go. I think that's it right there. I think that's it. That's the best it's going to get right now. Blessings, brothers and sisters, throughout the four corners of the earth. They talking about Elder, I'm blue. I hope that works. I look brown right now, and I hope black unto the ground. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Jumping right in, brothers and sisters. Before I go in, thank you for helping with focusing and hueing my camera correctly. Thank you. I'm brown. That's a blessing. All right. Jumping right in because I have Elder Lawyer waiting on the side. I would like to just make a few announcements that, a lot of the congregations throughout the earth get prepared. Through the Spirit of the Almighty, I will be traveling, okay, quite soon, okay? Any church that I've yet to actually travel to, okay? Brothers and sisters, look forward to me coming to your particular city and state. It's time. It's time to get all of these churches together up on one accord. I'll be traveling I'm going to focus on the remote areas or churches I've yet to travel since coming back to the United States. That's number one. Number two, I'll also be traveling soon to Canada and into the UK eventually, okay? And I'm trying to do all this before the year is out. And a lot of traveling right before the so-called election. And boy, do I have something to talk about concerning that. Okay, the selection. Okay, so I will be doing a lot of traveling soon. So look forward to the elders. We're coming to a city near you, and I will be announcing those in advance. Okay. Also, we'll be opening up enrollments early for the next academy, especially with us running into the election and all these others. All right. And the topic that the theme for the next academy will be the fall of the last empire. Prophetic lessons. We're going to add 4 prophetic lessons, okay, on top of updating the 4 beasts of Daniel. So we will be taking early enrollments. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. The fall of the last empire. We're living in that empire, and that will be the theme for the next academy. If this interests you, please go to historytimes.org and do what? Enroll in advance. Okay. The other thing before I drop in, I wanted to go into the fact that I don't know, something is going on with Cash App right now. And I'm hearing from a lot of you on the other side that whatever has happened within the last month or two with Cash App is affecting just everyday people who use Cash Apps. So right now, which is backing off of the Cash Apps right now and giving alternative options for donating to the church when it comes to you, brothers and sisters, with your continual support. Okay. What we'll be doing going forward, you can, and it will be in the description how to donate. Right now, we're trying to work out what's ever going on with Cash App. We have no idea. I'm not going to speculate, but until then, I'm going to give y'all some alternatives. Okay. If you would like to donate, hold on, other way. Let me straighten you out in a moment. I'll straighten yours out in a moment. If you would like to donate, you go to gatheringofchristchurch.org/donate. You go there and you scroll down, and as you can see, here's all of your options. And please, you don't have to use the Cash App option until we update that. All right. If you have one of these options, PayPal or whatever the case is, Zelle, we also have Venmo. We have Venmo, we have Zelle, whatever the case might be, right? Just go there, click on it. If you're using credit card or whatever the case is and you would like to support, just click on it. And it will give you all the options. And then you could actually click down to choose right here your choices. You can choose if it's for the weekly broadcast, you can hit GOCC watch online and put that as an option or anything in the comment, and that can replace Cash App until we work out what's going on there. If you want to support your weekly broadcast, GOCC watch online, or if you've been paying tithes and offerings through any church, you can click on the same link and put in the description or comment section, what in specific you are donating for, and we'll put money towards that in specific. Okay. So in a nutshell, when it comes to donating to the church, go to gatheringofchristchurch.org/donate. And all your options will be right on the page. Okay. And we're going to do that until we figure out what's going on with the Cash App thing. All right. I have no idea what's going on there, but it's not much of an inconvenience. And to make this more convenient for you all going forward, brothers and sisters, what we're going to do, we're going to have our team put a description, under the description, a link to go directly to the page, and y'all can handle it from there. Okay. I wanted to put that out there. All right. Now, jumping right in. Let me bring in Elder Lawyer. Elder Lawyer. Where is he? Here? Right there. Shalom, Elder Lawyer. How are you?
Shalom, sir. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Do me a favor. Turn up your mic just a little if you can.
All right. How we sound now?
That's absolutely excellent. I'm working without the mixer today because I want to jump right in and not deal with any technical side of this. Old school.
Yes, sir.
If you will. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Like you said during the academy this weekend, sometimes the old way is really the best way. We have all the bells and whistles and all this other stuff, and it's more complicated than just doing it how we've always done it. We were talking about that this weekend.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, Elder Lawyer, there's a lot going on in the earth right now, and I don't think our brothers and sisters understand exactly what's happening. What I would like to do is go over a few videos, a few things that I've seen during the week. Okay. so we can show brothers and sisters exactly where we are right now in prophecy. And then at the end of this, give some direction for what brothers and sisters need to understand in order to prepare for what's about to happen. Now, I'm saying this is because when I go into the rural areas outside of the city, when you go into the remote parts of Pennsylvania, it seems as if the other people, white people in particular in these rural areas near the Amish and others, are already preparing for something. Even in conversation, it's like a silent communication amongst them. There's a silent communication amongst them where we don't have to actually, sound an alarm in case of emergencies. The whole community know to be lockstep if their freedoms are infringed upon, and it's without conversation. It's without meetings. But I can tell you this, no one is going to make it through this without a team or a number of people on code at that time. Any individual operating as an individual without a plan is going to get trampled upon. They will be stamped upon. And I'm going to talk about this is why they work so hard with their divide and conquer tactics. Let me tell you, folks, it's about to get real, and something is brewing in certain conversations concerning, Elder Lawyer, this election. Okay? Now, before I go into it, and I'm going to allow you to hear some of the videos that I'll play, of course, you and I don't speak in advance because I need your spontaneous response to anything the Most High have me diving into. What is this topic? The world is not prepared for what's coming. Everything that's going on in the earth politically is a strategy. Even if the White House and politicians are playing dumb, as if everything is fine, a strategy is in place that will mean serious mayhem, especially in the United States. Okay, they have pulled the chaos lever. They have also gave all of these strangers and illegals access to what? To the financial treasury to bankrupt the treasury that taxpayers and their forefathers have paid into for generations. It's a money grab to systemically create an issue that the world powers are going to have to resolve. They're bankrupting the country. On top of bankrupting the country, there's a fight over who's going to be over the distributions of what little money is left after the money grab. And they're already preparing something for when they actually tell Americans there's nothing else left for them. And we're going to talk about this and more. Now, we're going to go into the scriptures and all that, but anyone that's operating like individuals, let me put this out there. Anyone operating in a military posture are going to get utterly destroyed. They're waiting for someone, militias or anyone, to operate in a uniform, organized resistance against government. Anyone show that front, they're going to be destroyed. Any people operating as individuals thinking that, okay, God is on my side, and as long as God is on my side, I'll be okay, even if I'm an individual rolling by myself with knowledge. That person is going to get rolled over. So people might ask, well, Elder, so what should we do since the rural areas and others have this silent conversation on how to get on code in the state of an emergency? And Elder Lawyer, one example that I can give, our people are really going to feel the brunt of this. Hit the like button, folks. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you, there have been a few examples in a state of crisis to let you know where this thing's going. Remember when so-called Katrina happened and the levees mysteriously broke in Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
Without there being a meeting or a conversation, you had on the other side of the bridge the whole neighborhood of whites joined together without a meeting to make sure that our people didn't cross over the bridge to save themselves from the waters that flooded our people in Louisiana. There wasn't no meeting amongst that white area that cut off the bridge. They knew if something like that happens, there's a silent conversation on what to do, because what? They're organized and they're together as a community. When I say they're together as a community, there's nothing that goes on in their community that they're not in control over. Okay? This is why when they pay taxes in their neighborhoods for their schools, that money goes directly to their township or their areas for the curriculums for their particular children. Their children are bused, they have high education, and guess what? These people know exactly where their money goes to when it comes to the educating of their children. Straight up. They don't have to ask, well, what's going on in schools and all these others, because they control the curriculum. Okay? They control their neighborhoods and they control what happens. Now, even though our people, we pay more in taxes, if you look at it per capita in these inner cities compared to these rural areas, but we don't get to dictate what's taught in our schools. See, we don't get to dictate that, even though we pay. When you look at how many people in the inner cities that we pay more into the state and federal and all that than even these rural areas, but we don't get an opportunity to dictate anything concerning what our children learn, the moral standards that should be set to protect us in a state of an emergency. Any of that. So that in of itself locks these people in that will have them circle the wagon in any case during an emergency, because it's from the grassroots. It's all the way from the educational system, the townships. This is what make these people, Elder Lawyer, already on code, because they have so much control of their areas. They know when an outsider or something is coming in to disturb it, and they're able to face it head on. Folks, we don't have this as a people. And I'm starting to question whether or not we ever had that. Elder Lawyer, before I go into some of these videos I'm about to unpack, y'all doing a great job, folks. Is the world prepared for what's to come? The world is not. Before I go into it, let's go over some international stuff that I ran into.
Yes, sir.
I warned people over and over again, if you're in the Middle East or in those areas, get from those areas immediately. The Most High will judge that area, folks. Will judge that area to make it what? To make it totally desolate before Christ enters the earth. The only cleanup of that area will be upon the coming of our Lord and Savior. Even the white people who are Israelis are taking refuge in other surrounding countries outside of the Middle East. It's going to be mayhem on top of mayhem. And let me tell you this. They're already making an agreement, Israel is allegedly, with Ethiopia to build a dam that will cut off the Nile River. So even those that are in the Cairo area and all, let me tell you, there's billions of people who depends on the Nile River for food, for nourishment, for their gardens, all of that. Well, the Bible states that the Nile will be dried up and will become a path, a highway towards the wilderness. And right now, see, they're not reporting what's going on prophetically, folks. That's why we're telling you this. There's a secret agreement that's going on between the state of Israel, allegedly, and the Ethiopian government that have actually been totally taken over to build a dam that will cut off the Nile River. And when they cut off the Nile River, it brings Egypt into the war. Those that are in the Mediterranean areas are going to be okay. Alexandria and areas like that, because that's the last bodies of water still in existence once all of the seas are poisoned. But if you're on the Nile side of Egypt, you're going to go through serious droughts and famines, and it's about to happen. No one is talking about it. We have to tell you from the watchtower what's going on prophetically. They're not talking about anything in America. They're more so talking about Janet Jackson said Kamala isn't black. Folks, they took this black politics and all this other crap. I'm going to tell you right now, something way bigger is going on in this earth prophetically that we must prepare for, okay? Everyone knows that Kamala is not like us. It's not even an argument, okay? So we're not even going there anymore. The whole thing is, it's still the divide and conquer tactic, but I'm going to let that be. Going back overseas real quick, Elder Lawyer, my first thing that I wanted to break out here is what? Let me pull you up, Elder Lawyer. The first thing, BBC News reports, and of course, we're going to uptick some of these reports this coming Sunday in the Academy with Elder Shapad. Okay? Leave Lebanon now. Starmers tells Britons. So all the English, those that are under England's nationality, they're being warned by their government to leave Lebanon now. There's planes that must fly out to take out the nationalities of those of Great Britain who lives in Lebanon in different parts of the Middle East. Let's read this real quick. The Prime Minister has told British nationals in Lebanon to leave immediately after fighting intensified between Israel and Hezbollah, the Iran-backed armed group which dominates the country. Sir Keir Starmer said, "We are ramping up the contingency plans and warned that we are potentially at a brink of what? All-out war." And folks, this is going to spill over. This is going to spill over. And you notice, Elder Lawyer, what happened when they went after Gaddafi. What exactly wasn't getting reported at that time? You think that this was a war between enemy combatants, and they started rounding up our people in Libya and putting them in caves, in cages. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Under the cloud of smoke, they're gathering up black people and putting them in cages and torturing them in cages. I'm going to tell you, folks, anytime there's a crisis, the cloud, they put a cloud of air of confusion out there to make you believe it's a war between two separate nationalities. But at that time, what people are getting tormented, what people are getting thrown out of their houses. Look at what happened during the so-called coronavirus in China. What they started doing to our black people, Israel, the children of Israel, who are Africans, who were living in China. So in the midst of these, they come after Jacob and use the war as more so a cover to attack our people. If you're in the surrounding areas, listen to what this is saying here. The Ministry of Defense is sending 700 troops where? To nearby Cyprus, Elder Lawyer, to prepare for possible evacuation of British nationals. A lot of people don't know that Cyprus is broke up into two separate parts, okay? You have the Turkish part that is predominantly Muslim, and you have the British part that's separated from the Turkish part. So it's like an extension of Great Britain in Cyprus. As a matter of fact, a lot of expats retire on the island, living on the British side. And it says right here, prepare for the possible evacuation of British nationals. For Lebanon, and the government continues to advise against all travel to Lebanon. Britons have been advised to book flights out of the country. But there are limited options available, with most airlines except the national carrier have canceled flights and ceased operating, and reports that those remaining are full. So let me tell you, people are scattering right now over there. And if you think that's something, if you think that's not coming to America, you have another thing coming. I'm going to go into that in a moment. The situation in the country, where Israeli strikes reportedly killed more than 560 people this week. Elder, have you heard anything of that reported in the United States?
No, sir, not at all.
And I'm talking about mainstream media at all.
Yeah.
560 people this week is described as deteriorating rapidly with devastating consequences. Okay? So this is what's going on right now. The handling of the Afghan evacuation, where 15,000 people were airlifted out of the country, was widely criticized as a mismanaged and chaotic. An estimated 10,000 UK citizens are currently in Lebanon. So the Afghanis had an evacuation. And guess what? What they're not telling people, Elder, it came from a separate story of how many Afghanians were actually flew over into the United States during the evacuation and are now getting citizenship, money, and all these things off of American taxpayers' dollars. Okay? Now, U.S. citizens have also been told to leave the country. The U.S. Embassy in Lebanon said that most airlines had suspended or canceled flights, with many flights sold out, and urged people to book any tickets that are available. Now, what do you think that happens, Elder Lawyer, to the people who let me pull you up, Elder. What do you think, Elder Lawyer, will happen to the people who miss flights or cannot get a flight in the midst of this war? You would never guess what's going to happen to them. Collateral damage. Collateral damage. They put out the warning immediately and let you know, but there's still limited seats. People are scurrying right now. And they can't even get enough flights out of there. And you would never guess what people, Elder Lawyer, is last on the list to be able to board these planes. I told people for years. The Bible make it clear the areas our people will be gathered out of. Get out of Jordan and get out of the areas in the Middle East. Do not go to Israel, because that place is going to be toast in the war. And I'll speak about that a little later. Now, Elder Lawyer, if you will, coming back to America now. Remember when I said that when it comes to the community, it starts with schools first, and how the other rural areas are prepared for what's going on, because from the grassroots, School and their institutions have always been rallying grounds and meeting places politically to keep their people in the rural areas on code with one another. Right?
Right.
In the midst of this was out 3 weeks ago. A brother from Baltimore, a pastor, confronts the school board who attempted to silence him because he was coming in, and because so many people out there, elder lawyers, claiming, well, what's going on? There's no strong black men standing up. No, black men are being silenced or ignored altogether, so that there can be an appearance of, well, there's no strong black men, to fit the fake narrative.
Right.
A black man don't have a say in this country if he isn't gay. Let me put that straight out. Okay? And being gay under a group is a dual allegiance. You can't be black and be for the black struggle, but still say, well, I'm a part of the LGBTQ community. Okay? It's a conflict of interest. Either you're going to be for your people or you're not. Or they can use your sexuality to undermine your people. So here it is, Elder Lord. I'm going to play this real quick. It's only a 5-minute clip. Fair use for educational purposes only. Fair use. Where this pastor confronts woke school boards. And we're going to talk about how if we're not organized where our children are learning, there's no way we can prepare ourselves for what's coming. We don't have the luxury they have over there in the rural areas to actually dictate curricula and others for our school. Folks, young boys dropping out, reading on a 3rd grade level, if that was their strategy, is their strategy. That was their plan all along. And some could say allegedly to get them on all types of drugs and all these other psychotropes and all that. So where these people, these young men cannot grow up to oppose the wicked system that seeks to destroy them. But here's a pastor. Fair use, and I want you to hear this, Elder Lawyer. And it's a shame that our people aren't doing anything about this. Fair use.
They know that I'm here. I have the power to create a citywide emergency. One man. And keep in mind, not a white man, but an African American.
African American. I'm going to translate that for you all. African American is really from the tribe of Judah, an Israelite, okay? The faith contributor Pastor John Amachukwu was effectively silenced by the Baltimore City Board of Education. The pastor was prepared to speak during an August 27th, 2024 school board meeting when a state of emergency was declared. I need y'all to check that out, folks. We're not allowed to have a say concerning our children in these schools. These are indoctrination centers ran by liberals who are seeking to destroy everything. And see, but in the rural areas, they don't allow that. They let the liberals cut loose on us, folks, as a social enemy to bring forth destructive curricula, destructive ideologies that they know leads to sin and destruction of our communities. And when we come to say, well, no, I would like our child to learn like those in the rural area, they call that, folks, a state of an emergency. It's a state of an emergency if a black man who believes in the Bible says, no, we need to switch this whole thing up. Pastor, we
started school yesterday, everyone.
Now, I need y'all to check this out. When he came, a strong black man with concern for his community in Baltimore, he was surrounded by police officers. And I'm just speculating. I don't know how many of these police officers were probably sworn in after coming over the border illegally, okay? Believe it or not, you can look this up. There's a lot of them being able to actually join, not being citizens. You can't do this. You can't go to Mexico, being an American citizen, an illegal alien, and become, an officer, a police officer, have a job with a pension and all this and insurance. You have insurance, pension, you get breaks and all that working for the government. You can't do that if you went to Mexico. But I bet you they can do that crossing the border illegally. Now check this out. He was surrounded by police officers as community members were evacuated from the boardroom. They evacuated the boardroom, folks. And I need y'all to see who's there, standing against the embetterment of their own black children.
We started school yesterday, everyone.
Fair use.
I told you, bro. Listen.
But all their stuff is still up there.
Yeah.
They got to come back.
Yeah, they got to come back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here in Baltimore. But as you can see, no one is sitting on the board right now. They had a citywide emergency. And they did this right before we got to public comments. Everyone has their property still sitting at their desk. This is the liberal shake and bake. This is how they move their agenda forward. They know that I'm here. They have to adjourn the meeting because they have a citywide emergency? Is that because there's a real issue going on? You be the judge. Or is it because they know that they're getting ready to hear the truth? You all have a citywide emergency, right? Mm-hmm. She couldn't say that, but you did. What's strange is everyone has their stuff still at their desk.
That's right. That makes it emergency. So that shows you it's emergency.
It shows that they're coming back.
No, it doesn't.
The citywide emergency is me. Someone comes to town with a differing viewpoint, and you all come up with a makeshift plan to shut him down so he can't speak.
You have some ID you want to share?
Some ID?
Yes.
Identification?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, brother.
Okay. No.
I go to white school boards in the suburbs, and the white people who know that I'm coming, because I may advertise it, they let me speak.
We appreciate that.
But the black people in my own community that look like me, y'all have a black governor, a black mayor, predominantly black school board, black officers, and the guy who has a differing viewpoint can't speak in your school board meeting?
You hear that, elder lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a man who believes in God, who said we need to instill morality, which leads to inspiring children to learn. And even when he go to white areas, rural areas, the schools I was speaking of earlier, they allow him to come through and speak. You know why? Because you can't teach that liberal against family garbage in their areas. They realize that that's degradation and demoralization of their children, and these white people aren't having it. Their taxpayers is not going towards having some nut jobs come through to destroy the minds of their children. But yet, this brother, they knew he was about to speak, and all of a sudden they called, you know how it is, they knew him based on reputation, and they called a state of an emergency and left everything at their tables until this guy would be exited from the premises. Right?
You are defrauding me of my freedom of speech.
No, we're not. You're talking, right?
No, I'm not able to be heard on record. And that's the problem. This
Fair
is
use.
the issue with why we have failing schools in Baltimore. Because no one wants to change. It's protecting the status quo.
Hey, brother, someone wants to change. You have a son. I'm sure if you were there with your son If you were there with like Dwayne Wade and said you wanted to transition your son, like Dwayne Wade is championing right now, they would have gave you the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So don't say they don't want to change. They definitely want to change, but not the change you're talking about, sir. Let me tell you, they would have called you a hero. They would have gave you the key to the city if you would have said, well, listen, I'm here with my son that I'm seeking to turn into a daughter. That's not a state of an emergency. Okay, elder lawyer, that's not a state of emergency chopping off your son's man member. They would say how courageous this black man is. There will be no police surrounding him. Fair use.
Quote, let's protect the CEO of Baltimore Public Schools who makes $479,000 a year. The kids can't read. But she makes $500,000 a year. This is not right. No, take me out. It is necessary.
Fair use. Now, elder lawyer, do you think if you were to go into one of these townships on the outside of Philadelphia, outside of Baltimore, do you think that they would have someone on the board making $500,000 a year over the school board in their county with their children learning on a second and third grade level? Just a question.
I don't think so.
So
I think there will be plenty of town hall meetings to ensure that the people have that person's job.
So obviously, elder lawyer, that this superintendent, whoever he or she is in Baltimore, is getting paid for something.
Right, exactly.
So there is a need for this $500,000 position. And some would say exactly what's going on with our people, the destruction of our people, is what they're paid to accomplish. They're getting paid, they get our tax money. They're getting paid to accomplish the total degradation and destruction of our people. But let's finish here.
Mm-hmm.
For educational and spiritual purposes only, to educate our people to wake up from their stupor and understand that they are in an actual war. Our people are in an actual war.
I can't go. I've come too far to go too easily.
That's your choice.
If you want to arrest me, you can, brother. If you arrest my speech, arrest my hands. I'm not carrying anything but a microphone and a Bible in my book bag. That's all I got. And y'all silence the black preacher. And these white liberal tactics that they're using is defrauding our people. Our people can't read, they can't write, they can't do math. They're the next victims for being on the corner that y'all got to go arrest and deal with. But when someone comes to town to offer wisdom and insight, they shut down the meeting. And guess who they use to support them in doing it? You all. The same group of people that they oftentimes say we need to defund the police. Let's take their jobs. I think they should fund y'all more. I'm for backing the police. That's where I stand. But once I get in the meeting, I can see all the commotion and all the walking out, all the texting, and they got to come up with a way to clear this out because they can't let a black man speak for 3 minutes. My thing is, why am I a threat? We have a black governor, a black mayor, a black board. What do we need an equity office for? We need
a black mayor, a black governor, and a black board of directors. Black city council. I don't want to hear anyone out there claiming that these people are doing the white man's bidding. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, that's a cover. That's shifting. That's shifting. If we were to go back to the civil rights days, regardless of these people color right now, they're no different than the people who would have been turning dogs on us to keep us in line. And they will be the riot police against our people when all of this breaks out. They want to harm their own people. A lot of these people get in position to do exactly what they're doing. Their position isn't law and order. Their position was always meant to keep us in line. That's it. To keep us in line. Let me tell you, they have a choice not to become an extension of a government that have always oppressed us like this. And I understand these people are only doing their job. I understand that. But they have to know, listening to this brother, elder lawyer, that something isn't right.
Right.
And one thing that resonated before I continue this and go to the next video, one thing that resonated with me is when the brother stated, y'all know if we don't get these boys together and these children together at an early age from the school level, on the school level, these will be the same children you're knocking upside the head, throwing into these prisons. Y'all know it's a direct correlation between how our children are treated in school and what? The prison systems. Okay? Straight up, the school to prison pipeline. If a child isn't educated, don't know how to read, there is really no options. And outside of that, they're going to have to choose criminality to survive. And guess what? These guys know that. Well, as long as we have a school destroyed such as this, I guess we'll always have a job. Fair use.
Shut that office down, transition those funds to more teacher support and help and aids.
I respect your moment. As a black man, right? You got to speak your piece. And I hear you. Yeah. But help me do my job and just leave the building for the day.
Yeah. All right, I'll leave.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll leave. Ain't no. So?
Elder lawyer, just help me do my job.
Yeah.
There's this old, it was almost a meme, this whole adage, where they were showing a mock cartoon of Nazi Germany, where each person, all the way leading to the ditch where people were buried, there was a quote for each person in the line, not realizing that their turn was coming. Mm-hmm. I'm just doing my job. And the person had a gun behind that person ready to take him out and saying, I'm just doing my job. And the person had a knife behind that person, said, march forward, I'm just doing my job. And when it's all said and done, somebody going to be behind these brothers stating, and I'm talking about the illegal enforcers that are here. They're going to tell these brothers, I'm just doing my job. Mm-hmm. If we're not willing to fix this at the grassroots levels to protect our children first, what is all this for? What is all this for? That means every other issue that we experience as a people, we're just putting Band-Aids over it. And see, these other people understand outside of the cities that it starts with their children first. Fair use.
The moral of the story is, if you support Christian conservative viewpoints, the school board will use law enforcement against you. And these are good brothers here. They have children in this district. And if anyone should be upset right now, it should be the citizens that wear the black and the blue and who work in the city. They are now witnessing what happens when an alternative decision or viewpoint shows up. They have an equity office where the CEO makes $480,000 a year, but the kids can't read on grade level. They can't do math on grade level. A citywide emergency was called. because one man came to Baltimore. Bless you, brother. Bless you, brother. Bless you.
This is it, right?
This is the statewide emergency. This right here. This right here is a statewide emergency. The Bible. What's your name?
The Bible, Elder Lawyer, is a statewide emergency. Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about this before I bring the next video in. When they commence with their meetings after the statewide emergency is over, which is one who would read the Bible, they would probably bring in Muslims, illegals, and others to continue planning the total decimation of what's left of our people in these particular cities. No one can fool me into believing that they're talking about anything other than destroying our people in these inner city council meetings. And the example of that is when these people, brothers and sisters, brought the reparations to California and put that on the table. And right before the reparations people were about to speak, because what they were talking about is actually creating, Elder Lawyer, a board for financial distribution to those who qualifies for reparations. They heard everything about immigrants and all of this. And when the people came to speak about reparations, it was our people going to them saying, it was a white Republican who saying, you know what? Y'all been using white people as a cover for the longest. He was speaking to black people in city council in California. He says, I'm going to prove and I'm going to show everyone your hypocrisy. And it was a white Republican who put reparations for those who qualify as something to be voted on amongst the governor, to the governor in California. And they had him in the hall. It was black people in the hall pulling the white Republican to the side and said, begging him, Elder, please don't do this to us. Please don't present this bill. It was our people telling a white Republican, because don't forget, they like to play hot potato and say the Republicans is slowing us up. It was black people asking the white Republican guy, please don't present this on the floor. So when he went to present it, guess what? They all left. They didn't even allow it to get presented, because if you're not there to actually speak it into record like this, brother, then they have to wait later to present it at another time. So they made it seem as if it was going to be presented, even though the white guy, he's a Republican, even though he presented it, they left before it was heard. And it was Governor Newsom who knocked down that even being spoken into record. And then they try to claim with their garbage lies that what? They try to claim, well, let's put together a committee to discuss reparations. Well, where's the committee to discuss the money that goes to Israel?
Right.
Where's the commission to talk about the money that go to illegals right now while our people are getting put out on the streets? Huh? Where was the committee that got together and say, well, we got to discuss the money going to Ukraine? I wish you would tell AIPAC and the Jewish lobby that you're going to put a committee together to discuss what they get. And we all know, brothers and sisters, that those people, they don't represent us. They be here. They talk a good game up into election just to get you out there so that they can be over with their little organizations, the purse strings. where the money goes towards them and their families and their own organizations, while our people suffer and utterly sink, trusting in hope with these particular people.
Right.
Now, Elder Lawyer, next one. And then we can talk after this. Last but not least, and I like to give full credit to folks. Y'all doing a great job, but we're about 400 likes down. If you haven't hit the like button now, please hit it, please. I really appreciate it. My family. They're getting paid to utterly just eradicate what's left of our people, folks. That was their plan. No sooner as it switched after the election with that bogus pandemic or whatever the case is, once all that went down, folks, from the first day that they transitioned presidents, the border went wide open. Even before, folks, we opened up like that, telling us to stay 6 feet apart. They were flooding people into the country, getting ready for the next phase of destroying us, for those who lived through the pandemic, who were smart enough to live through it. Okay? I like to give credit to Redacted. If y'all would like, go over there. Another short video, Elder Lawyer. You can go over there and support and subscribe. A lot of good information that's here. Redacted have this report, and it goes into the world is not prepared for what's about to happen. And folks, allegedly, I'm going to put out allegedly, I'm going to say that, they were, it wasn't even illegals, folks, where they was bringing them over the border. They were flying through airlines, tens of thousands of people into the United States from overseas to become citizens. And I believe that a lot of them have been coached into who to vote for in the next coming election. Okay? To replace Judah as the main constituency. Now, other thing, Elder Lawyer, this is deep. I'm going to tell you, these people would stop at no lows. There's no low they wouldn't go to keep their hands on the reins of power. That's what it's really about. You had another woman in the inner city school. She was called something like an electoral minister, some made up position. She's paid by the DNC. Went into one of the high schools, got access to all the information of all the children, high school that was graduating, who would be 18 by the time of the election, who would turn 18 by the time of the election. And there was a black woman. She was pulling young ladies and others out of school to come down and speak to her, like some minister or something, minister of an electoral, some crap they made up, and telling the girls that, listen, you gotta register. If Trump get in, it's gonna be the end of black people, and all this scared this young lady into actually registering the vote. Okay, where the mother had to come through and say, first of all, you're not even. You don't even work for this school. Who are you? And right. How dare you talk to my daughter about anything political? I dictate what goes on with my daughter. And she says right out, we're not voting for these people who are bringing in illegals to replace my daughter. And then she started backpedaling. First, she lied and said, well, I really didn't say this. The sister was secretly recording it. And guess what? She says, I didn't say this until the daughter came and says, and the mother was like, and you know what? I applaud sisters like that. She says, "You're going to call my daughter a liar?" She's right here. She said, "You tried to scare her into first of all, registering and voting for Kamala." She says, "Listen," and she said it straight up, "Kamala isn't like us. My daughter is not for Kamala. Kamala, her experience have nothing to do with the black woman's experience here in the United States. Okay? We don't know how it is to have an East Indian father from Jamaica with Irish roots and a East Indian woman who was in Canada, in America, and actually her nationality on her paperwork was a white woman." She says, we don't relate to her experience. Okay? She was raised in Canada. On top of being raised in Canada, she only came here to go to an HBCU because she can get benefits off of black people who sweat and bled to have our own universities. And she can come in under the black and brown to get an education that wouldn't have afforded that same type of education in Canada and or where her mother come from, East India. She siphoned off of us, and now they want our people to believe she's down with us. Sisters should be insulted, Elder Lawyer, and I'm going to tell you, she was insulted. And it was so good to hear. I'm going to tell you right now. And guess what? I don't really care for Oprah like that. But Oprah is more qualified to be a president than she is. When it comes to Oprah's experience, the grassroots, blood, going all the way throughout generations from those chattel slave ships to understand our true plight as a people. When it comes to somebody who would relate to us, Oprah, even though I don't care for her too much, she's more qualified to be a president than that woman. Hope I'm not putting no ideas out there, but Oprah is educated, well-spoken, understand what's going on geopolitically. She have operated in the corporate realm. She know how to succeed. She's a great communicator. So our sisters should see this as an insult, that an outsider have to come from somewhere that no one knows to represent them. I applaud that, sister. But let's get to the world is not prepared for what's about to happen. Fair use. Fair use.
Well, what if I told you that private airline companies have lucrative contracts with the Department of Defense to take illegal immigrants back and forth to their homes over and over again? You want to go home for a birthday party? No problem. We'll take you home.
And guess who's paying for that? They're depleting the treasury of the United States and bringing the United States into greater debt. Because these people have no alliances with America. They're here to rob it. Which leaves the poor poorer. And that's their plan. Oh yeah, I'm staying in a 5-star hotel for free, even though the real Americans who fought for this country are living out on a concrete with no food or water or anything like that. And I'm going to order some more food. As a matter of fact, you know what? I need to go visit my mother back in, I need to visit my mother back in China. So book a flight for me. That's on the American tab too. A matter of fact, make it round trip. And if you can, first class, please. If you can. If not, it's okay. These people can fly anywhere they want back to their home without spending 1 cent. Did y'all know that?
Well, you'll leave in shackles and we'll bring you back into the United States. The United States government will fly illegal immigrants home and then bring them right back. You are paying for this. You, the American taxpayers, are paying for this. You heard me right. And the woman who's here to break this story wide open is Sonia Labasco, a former United States Air Marshal. And she's here with this unbelievable story. And so when I heard about this, I said, this can't be true. This is unbelievable. What is exactly happening here?
Well, Clayton, it's true. I mean, the taxpayers are paying billions of dollars to transport illegal immigrants out of our country. I think what's really needs to be highlighted here is these airline companies like GlobalX, that's one of the largest carriers, they started their contract in August of 2021 down in Miami. Now, GlobalX only had 2 aircraft in August of 2021. Today, as it stands, they have 17 aircraft. 17. Now, that's over $1 billion worth of aircraft that they've purchased in the last few years. And this is all because of the government contracts that they are contracting with to export the illegal aliens who are voluntarily removing themselves.
So now you've been speaking with the pilots. Can you talk to me as a United States Air Marshal? What are these pilots telling you?
And this is for fair use educational purposes only. And again, I always suggest that you support those who are speaking truth. So when you go to Redacted, let them know you heard of them from the Gathering of Christ Church and subscribe. You do have some real good information on this particular channel. All right, fair use. I want to see, and guess what? While your schools are suffering and not putting one dime towards your children, this is where your money's going. Hard-paying tax-paying citizens. The Bible says what? A just wait for a just measure. A just wait for a just measure, which means if you put money into the country and they pull the money out of your taxes as a hard worker, it's not complaining, stating that, guess what? I need you to prioritize my interests first.
Exactly.
So it's not about saying that you shouldn't do anything for other people, but their priority is out of whack. Okay, these people aren't taxpayers. Okay? They didn't bleed for the freedoms that have allowed them to come over and rob. And folks, this is outright stealing. This is stealing.
I mean,
oh yeah, by the way, Elder Lawyer, I don't know who's running the White House right now. Do you know that Biden had his first cabinet meeting for the first time last week?
Wow.
Now, you usually have those at the top of the year.
Right.
And you would never guess who was conducting the meeting.
Who's that?
His wife.
Wow.
He told his wife, you know, I need you to head this up. And he rolled out. Who's running the White House? But that's a whole nother conversation. Fair use.
So they need pilots. They need experienced pilots to be carrying this out. Who are these people?
Yeah, it was Joe Biden.
And what have they told you?
A lot of these pilots are retired, and it's not only pilots, it's also the guards that are contracted, because these individuals, even though they're voluntary removal, they're still in federal custody. That's why they're in shackles. That's why this looks so official, correct? Because even if they voluntarily remove, they come into federal custody. With these private airlines, they also contract with the guards. There's also contracted guards that have to fly on these planes in federal custody. So there's another contract for you on top of us paying to transport them out of the country. We're also paying for the security to babysit them basically while they're flown out of the country. And they're very unhappy. They're flying into all the countries where we have a CBP-1 mobile app. You know, that's the government system to where someone that wants to enter the country illegally can go to CBP Mobile 1 app and they can apply for entry into the United States. They also know now that we're flying them in through CBP Mobile 1. Now the taxpayers are providing a private charter for them to fly back home. And as you said, They fly back home to see their family. They may have been in the United States for a couple of weeks or a couple.
Did you hear that, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
A private charter?
Mm.
You know, I need to go see my mama. I mean, somebody get me a private charter, right?
Mm.
You know, because what? Who want to stand in those crazy lines at the airline? You know what I mean? I got things to do.
Sure.
What? You know, I got things to do. You know what I mean? I need you to walk me past security, past these regular citizens who are paying to travel. And, you know, give me my private charter as an illegal to go and check out what's going on with my family real quick. And y'all better make it chop. Snappy, snappy. I need that charter now. And wait until I go kiss my mama and then fly me back.
Mm.
Couple of months, and they want to go back home for some type of special gathering, a birthday party, quinceañera, some type of milestone.
And what they'll tell you is that the supermarkets are price gouging to why you have to pay so much for products and food today and gas today. No, it's called inflation. See, if you spend money willy-nilly on illegals without any accountability, the more you spend, the more money is printed. The more money that's printed, that's right, folks, the higher the debt. The higher the debt, inflation. What happens with inflation? Well, guess what? If the gas is too high, then the products that the motor vehicles transport must go up. See how that works? If the gas prices go up and they're bringing products to your supermarket that cost more because gasoline costs more, then it comes out of the pockets of the consumers. There's no price gouging, folks. It's an adjustment for inflation because they're printing money that no one is accounting for, giving it to illegals. This is social warfare. This is how you take a country and make it go belly up without destroying, without killing right now one particular person. Small boil. See, that's how you do it. So I'm gonna go after these elder lawyers. She's talking about I'm gonna go after these supermarkets that are price gouging and that are raising prices. I'm gonna go after them when they are behind all of what we're seeing right now that's making the costs go through the roofs. You know what? Maybe when she came over from where she come from, maybe she thought that black people, or people in particular in the United States, are dumb. Do they think we're that dumb? And listen, I'm not trying to insult anyone, but are we that dumb? I'm not trying to insult a person. But do they think they can just say something and Jedi mind trick us into believing what they're saying is correct or true? Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they don't think we know how inflation works. So who she's talking about, who she's talking to when she's talking about she's going to stand in the gap and make sure there's no price gouging, when it's her policies and Biden's policies, or at least that administration, that caused everything to go skyrocket ever since they opened the borders up against our people. Fair use.
In the family. So they voluntarily remove themselves. They know that they're going to get transported back home. They have to go through federal custody, so there's a little downtime for them at a holding location, but they know they're going to be sent back home, and within a couple of weeks, they're going to re-enter United States.
You lost me.
Oh no, we're not going to have that. We're not, and guess what? They're playing these commercials and all of that. Even on my particular channel that they refuse to allow us to monetize, but they're still getting advertisement money off of our videos. Well, I guess that's the American way. You can only give it to people who are illegal.
I mean, I'd like to go visit South America. Can I just, call up these airlines and say, I'd like to take my family on a little vacation. Will the United States government pay for it? Of course not. But here we are, American taxpayers footing the bill for them to go back and forth to quinceañera parties, birthday parties, whatever else, and they can come right back into the United States. This is, it's shocking. It really shouldn't surprise anyone, though, that these airlines are now able to buy additional aircraft to accommodate these DoD contracts and expand their flights, expand their service, hire former, United States air marshals to be on board to facilitate all of this. It's absolutely disgusting. We're looking at some video here. This is from RGV Truth, posting this about Global X. And you see these guys in shackles here. What are we looking at here? They're just moving these guys around in shackles, but they're going right back to their home country.
Correct. That's what you consider federal custody. So whether an ICE DRO went out and took someone off the street and it's going to deport them, or this individual showed up at the ICE facility and said, I just want to turn myself in, I just want to voluntarily remove, they will be in the shackles because that is considered federal custody. So that's what you're seeing right there is the individuals that turn themselves in, or maybe a few of those could be somebody that actually was taken off the street, but most of these are voluntary removals. But what's so glaring is in the numbers that the government sends to us, these all look like deportations, correct? They're using these voluntary removals and mixing those into the numbers to make it appear like they're doing this massive deportation job, and they're really not. These people are voluntarily leaving, and then they're...
So they're acting it out, Elder Lawyer. They're being told behind closed doors, okay, we're going to shackle you to make it seem like it's a deportation, so not to lose the PR battle publicly. But really, once you get on the plane, we'll take the handcuffs off, right? The disco ball comes down, the music comes on, and you can begin beating piñatas and see what gifts pour out of the ceiling. Okay? So just play along with us for the optics here, right? Put handcuffs on, and we're gonna make everyone believe that you're being deported. But when the cameras go off, do what you do.
They're coming back.
So these people are voluntarily leaving. They're turning themselves over to federal custody, and the government, the Biden administration, then considers that a deportation number in their phony numbers. They're flying them to wherever out of America.
They go right back
country.
To a whole plane full of their home country. So everyone you see getting on that plane is going to go to the same country. So they're people that know each other. So they're flying back to their home country. So these planes, let's just say, for example, this may be a plane based going to Nicaragua. Those are all people that came from the same location in the same area. So they're taking them back home.
Here's how people eliminate foot pain in just 90 seconds.
We don't care how people eliminate foot pain in just 60 seconds. One moment, real quick. One moment. There's one other thing I wanted to show, right? I want y'all to check this out here. All right. And what are they doing in the rural areas, Elder Lawyer? Right?
Unrest.
Check out, now they telling us that they're not doing nothing for our people, right? In these schools and others. But let's see how the other people on the outside of the inner cities, what are they doing? This is from 3 weeks ago. Again, fair use. Educational purposes only. But what are they preparing their children for, Elder Lawyer?
In the U.S. has motivated me to be a doomsday prepper. We have a year and a half worth of food for our family of 5.
Come with me, spend $1,000 prepping.
In the last 10 years, I probably spent $20,000 prepping.
What is the title to this? And I wanted to show you all what they're doing. Unrest in the United States of America has me prepping for civil war. My extraordinary family. You can say what you want about Karen, all right? But Karen is not going to be caught out there, okay? She's going to make sure she has something to say on those board meetings. Any nut jobs that talking about transitioning little babies and kids and all that, they'll send them into your areas to mess your people up. Karen isn't having it. And on top of that, when they see civil war coming, which begins with illegals coming over to actually topple the country and to break out in gang war against the citizens in the inner cities, you know what I mean? So they're going to start getting some food before the prices are too high to purchase. Say what you want about Karen.
Unrest in the U.S. has motivated me to be a doomsday prepper. We have a year and a half worth of food for our family of 5.
Come with me, spend $1,000 prepping.
And you notice she has her daughter with her. This is how they teach their children, folks. This is how they teach their children. And folks, guess what? That's all of them in the rural areas outside of the city.
In the last 10 years, I probably spent $20,000 prepping.
She spent $20,000, elder lawyer, prepping.
And thought you were that crazy. In here.
Hold up now. Her friend says, elder lawyer, that she's bat crap crazy.
$1,000 prepping. I thought you were that crazy.
It was a sister who says, I thought you were bat crazy.
In here is where we keep our guns.
Do you think the prospect of...
She's just casual with it, elder lawyer. She's just casual with it. Yeah, by the way, this is where we keep our what? Our constitutional protection.
Mm-hmm.
Now you notice that when Kamala spoke to the black journalist, the sisters came out. One sister pushed back and said, well, Kamala, you talking about assault weapons when the majority of crimes are being done with handguns in Chicago. And you should see when Kamala looked at her like if she could stare through her, if she could take her out with looks. You're not supposed to ask me that question because the plan really isn't about assault weapons. When the majority of crimes are getting done through handguns, it's really to get rid of guns, is what the sister was insinuating.
Right.
But they're hiding behind this assault weapons conversation. Right? So here it is. You can call her who she want. I'm going to say Karen for the sake of conversation. The sister is saying, you're bat crap crazy. And Karen is saying, listen, I'm going to show you in my Constitutional Protection Act.
And thought you were that crazy. In here is where we keep our guns.
Do you
I'm going to tell you.
think the prospect of having to prep could be scary for children?
Fair use.
All the yellows are ready. Those are the yellow sunbursts. My name is Crystal,
and I just picked some yellow sunburst tomatoes today. She's showing her children how to protect themselves, how to gather food, how to grow their own food. I picked a lot of them today. I have a whole garden, all types of stuff. Right? And folks, guess what? All you got to do is throw seeds down. And it'll grow. Come back and pick up your food later. Nobody knows it's out there.
all the yellows are ready. Those are the yellow sunbursts. My name is Crystal, and I'm a doomsday prepper. My husband's name is Derek, and we've been together for 15 years. We have a 12-year-old daughter, Lila, an 11-year-old daughter.
Hey, Elder, I just seen some chickens. How do you go about your chickens? And since you've been doing chickens real quick, Elder Lloyd, because you have your own coop and all that.
Mm-hmm.
How has that benefited your home as far as having those chickens? How has that actually been an asset to really help your family? Just having chickens alone, if you can just talk about that for a moment.
Well, to be brief, obviously they produce an egg, so obviously that's a bonus in itself. That's a food source that is when you go into the grocery store, you see the eggs are through the roof. So just having that by itself is a benefit. Not to mention as well, the chickens, when they go to do their stuff, obviously that decomposes, that becomes fertilizer, which then allows you to now grow food and things of that nature. So there's a lot of benefits that come with just having those chickens. And, me personally, for me personally, they're not too high maintenance. It's just keeping them clean, keeping them fed, keeping them watered. But, again, they are a benefit.
And how many eggs do your chickens produce weekly?
Well, there's 3 chickens. They produce an egg a day. So for 7 days, that'll be 21 eggs.
Look at that. When the last time you bought a carton of eggs?
Man, I don't know when.
Go ahead. All right, young brother. Hey, I'm just trying to let our brothers and sisters know.
Yes, sir.
To prepare for something, because what they're doing with the supermarkets, folks, the reason why Kamala is talking about regulating the supermarkets is because based on what they're doing right now, they're going to have to ration the food. If you begin to price these people out of being able to actually operate on the open market, and the government intrudes with putting certain restrictions on, I would say, those who produce food, and them actually selling their food for the going price, then what happens? They will no longer produce food for that supermarket if they're not getting a profit. So they'll just say, well, listen, if we're not making food just so people can eat. So if the government comes in, guess what? We're pulling back all of our products. And that's what they want. Because then they would have to ration any food that's usually produced through government, and it'll be trash food. It'll be all the stuff we've been avoiding, and that food will be the only food left for our people to eat that cause all types of sicknesses, cancers, and all these others. So they are strategically forcing good food producers out of the market without telling you.
Right.
And if they do that, then they're going to claim, well, hold up. There's a food shortage that they created through inflation, and now trying to restrict companies from actually charging what their food is worth. And this is why, let me go back to Karen. See, other people are practical. They're practical. And guess what? They see the sign. They see the signs on the wall, folks. And all these illegals, they're just going to do a money grab, build stuff in their own country, and when all of that crap hits the fan, they're going back with all they built from your money and your foreparents' money that was in the treasury within this United States. They have a place to go back to. And that's why I wanted to show them flying back and forth free. Who's going to be stuck with nothing? No treasury, no money, no food. And I'm going to tell you, people are different when they're hungry. And that's why Karen is preparing her family. And if you think they're preparing their children just to pick cherry tomatoes, you got another thing coming. You best believe this little girl right here know how to use her constitutional rights and are getting ready. They expect, if there's a finesse in this election, they are expecting all-out civil war. If there's a finesse. Because no one in their right mind is actually going to vote for the Democrats anymore, because now the Democrats can no longer hide their true purpose. They're anti-God, they're anti-family, they destroy everything, they're anti-babies, they're pro-transition in children, anti-God, did I mention that? Anti-Bible, and they can't even hide it anymore. So the only way that they can actually do something to actually really win this is if they finessed it. And guess what? Karen and her family, they're waiting for this finesse. They're waiting for it.
They're Kaylee and a 7-year-old son, Colton. And drop them in that hole and that.
Now look at this. Look at this. We have a problem, Elder Lawyer, getting city council and others in the school board to help our children read, especially the little boys, read beyond a 3rd or 4th grade level. But look at what they're training their children to do at grade level. Look at this.
7-year-old daughter, Kaylee, and a 7-year-old son, Colton.
7-year-old son is learning how to what? Make his own food through a garden. I need y'all to check this out. The contrast. Let's stop for a moment and contrast this. You got a brother who comes with the Bible trying to fight this progressive woke garbage they've placed in our school to destroy our families. And their police is surrounding him. But where she is, this woman here, she has the freedom to not only make sure her money goes towards the taxes where the schools in her areas have the top education in the country, but also she teaches her children how to self-sustain during their grade learning years.
And drop them in that hole and that. When I first started learning how to grow food, it was with my grandpa. It is a way of feeling self-reliant to be able to grow what you want to eat.
Oh no, we're not dealing with that either. Hold on. We're not dealing with that either. Nope. Nope, we're gonna skip that. There you go.
Has been something that's been part of my life since I was a really prepping has been something that's been part of my life since I was.
And I need y'all to check out that basket. This basket right here that looks like what we usually grab out of our garden. Right here. Right there. Okay. She has some eggs from the chickens. I usually get Lawyer be giving me some eggs sometimes, him and Shawan. We have what? We have squash, right? Or zucchini. I have that growing all over the place. Tomatoes growing all over the place, and herbs. There's nothing more fulfilling than actually eating the food that was grown with your own hands. Real nutrients, you tilled the ground it came out of, and the food produces for those who work for it. And guess what? The food tastes absolutely amazing when you grow it yourself.
It's been something that's been part of my life since I was a really small child. My grandma taught me how to can when I was 3 years old, and I've continued.
Her grandmother taught her how to can when she was 3 years old. Folks, let me tell you. We got jars of food and all of that. And when you jar this stuff can last 15 years. But guess what? The sister looked at her elder lawyer and said, you know what? She's bat crap crazy. Mm-hmm. At any time, if this woman wanted to, she could sustain her family for a long time without ever stepping her foot into one supermarket. Look behind her.
You're doing it for the last 33 years. All right, let me take you to my prepping room. Over here is long-term food storage. Long-term food storage is food supply that actually has a 25-year shelf life.
And we have that too. And I'm putting this out there for you all, folks, because why? If you don't get this stuff while you can get it now, with what they are about to do in this country, with destroying the dollar, one of these buckets will be worth its weight in gold. A matter of fact, one of these buckets will be worth more than gold because you cannot eat gold nuggets. Mm-hmm. So I'm putting it out there now.
I'm a doomsday prepper and I prep for everything, whether the grid was to collapse and the power turns off, if there's another pandemic, civil war, civil unrest, or World War III. We always prepare for the worst case scenario and we always hope for the best case. This is our first aid bin. We have antibiotics, inhalers, water filtration. We store most of our electronics in EMP bags or Faraday cages. They are just to protect if there was ever an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse that could affect or scramble stuff. So right here is one of our newest preps that we've added into prepping is learning how to freeze dry. So we're able to now create and make our own MREs, which are meals ready to eat. Right now, my new food goal is 3-year food supply.
Hold up, Elder Lloyd, that's something I don't got.
That we've to protect if there was ever an EMP, which
it's something
is an
I don't got right here.
Pulse that could affect or scramble stuff. So right here is one of our newest preps that we've added into prepping is learning how to freeze dry. So
freeze dry, okay. That's one thing I don't have.
So we're able to now create and make our own MREs, which are meals ready to eat. Right now, my new food goal is 3-year food supply, and then our next goal is to go completely off the grid. We have anything from top ramen, seasonings, coffee, pasta, oatmeal, to all the food that I preserve myself. We have roughly about a year to a year and a half worth of food for our family of 5. We have carrots and pickles.
Now let's skip a little bit. Let's skip a little bit.
In case of an emergency where we want to put our family in or around and to keep them protected. Our bug out bags, in case of an emergency where we have to actually leave the house in a hurry, we just grab a bag and go. We also store up on plate carriers and body armor. I need to be prepared to make sure that my kids are taken care of at all costs. Push it open, just like that. Colton, you can hold the funnel.
Can you tell me what you guys are doing?
We are putting rice in a, what's it called again?
A Mylar bag.
A Mylar bag, which makes it, instead of just a 1-year pantry thing, to,
And guess what, Elder Lawyer? Don't look like these children have a care in the world. You think these kids care about illegals? Because let me tell you, these people in these other areas, they know that these illegals are secretly being used to undermine and to destroy our people. The blacks or the poors in these inner cities. They know this.
$20 to 25 years.
What does prepping mean to you?
I don't really know. Well, my mom just started doing it, and I wasn't really a part of it until lately. It's prepping to board because we don't put food to waste.
Now you have no access to the zipper, so no oxygen can get inside this bag.
Do you think the prospect of having to prep could be scary for your children?
Absolutely not. Our schools.
Oh yeah, and Elder Lawyer, another thing that people probably didn't know. There was some reports out there in the inner cities that a lot of these so-called Amazon jobs and other service jobs are being given to illegals who are driving around casing people, documenting where they're going, what people have, where they live, in case they need to revisit them in the future outside of the quote-unquote job. Okay? So we have to keep our minds aware and stay aware to that too. That these people are actually keeping data on where they're traveling, who got what. I'm going to tell you, folks, it's about to get deep out here.
Run active shooter drills for emergency situations. So why not bring that to your home life? It doesn't need to be an active shooter. It can be a natural disaster, an earthquake. Our kids love and thrive on knowing what to do in an emergency, and it brings them a sense of calm versus a sense of panic.
What was Derek's view of your prepping a few years ago?
If you see your state.
No, we ain't doing that. But Elder Lawyer, one thing I wanted to show real quick. A matter of fact, I will show it at another time. 1 second. Is that they have these actual, I don't know if you have one of those, Elder Lawyer. It's a laser round. Where if, of course, you would have to be a legal carrier. Mm-hmm. But if you're not a criminal or whatever the case is, and you're exercising your constitutional rights to have protection, a right to bear arms, which is your right, then this round goes into whatever caliber of practice, I would say, firearm that one might have. And you can actually shoot targets without actually firing rounds. You can practice. Yeah. You have one of those?
Yeah, I got one right in front of me.
Huh?
I have one right in front of me, actually.
Yeah, I purchased 3, and I got one downstairs right now. And you can actually set up a target place in your own home. Mm-hmm. No fear of noise going off, no fear in harming anyone, just to practice your aim and your target. And you'll be surprised how accurate it makes you. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me see it. Let me see. 1 second. I like about it, Elder Lawyer, is that it's from Vanish. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's where you got yours. It's from Vanish.
Okay. Mine, I'm not sure the name of the company. I know the name of the product. It's called a GOCC.
Yeah. VNSH, right? And I have a magnet, and and all that, but they have these where you can put a caliber in. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, it can't harm anyone, but it's used. You put a target up, you got your own phone and all that, and you set up, and it actually teaches you how to aim. Very, very, very good tools, right?
Yep.
Very good tools. So, what I'm saying is, it's okay to exercise your constitutional right, as far as to be able to protect yourselves. Okay. Mm-hmm. And of course, when doing that, you go through all the legal means, and make sure you get the proper instructors, so that you're careful with protecting yourselves, not to harm others. Okay, but still, having a right to protect yourself is a right. Okay, even Christ said, "What? Sell your cloak and get a sword." Okay, but I'll talk about that more so during my Patreon. I'm going to Patreon, and we're going to compare some prepping tips amongst each other this coming Friday. I have a lot of that. What we see, my family has these things: a bug out bag, a bag to grab in case of an emergency that breaks out where you can't get home or whatever the case is. And you may need some food, Band-Aids. You may need a blanket, one of those foil blankets to keep you warm while you think about your next move or whatever the case is. So I'm going to be talking about that this coming Friday, okay? We're going to compare, and we're going to challenge each other to actually begin prepping for our own families. And I want to talk about that this coming Friday on Patreon. So if that interests you, let's talk about that on Patreon/AGathering144 for those who are interested in that. Skip that.
And always thought it was a little extreme.
What did you know about prepping before you met Christian?
And again, this is for fair use, educational purposes only. Obviously, the people on the outside of the inner cities get it. And those who don't understand, according to prophecy, what's going on, are going to be caught up at the behest of having to depend on everything from the government. And folks, you don't want to be there.
So what I knew about prepping prior to meeting my wife was a whole lot of nothing.
I can't take him anywhere with me.
My opinion changed towards prepping and being prepared was right around the pandemic. Seeing the chaos, we had enough, supplies to last us a long time. And it was a really good thing to see as our generations change that this is a skill that we need to pass down to our kids, to our communities, and, our friends and colleagues and etc.
So it's not just them. Something break out, they're going to know how to come together and ration their food and to protect their resources in a state of crisis. And that was the difference between what happened in Katrina when these people were cutting off the bridge because they's like, y'all not coming over the bridge to take what we have been preparing for. Okay? That's how I'm going to tell you, folks.
Hey, my friends and family always used to tease me about being a prepper.
Remember when we were at comp 2 years ago and you were like, do you have all your together? And I was like, nope, not even close. I thought you were back. It's crazy.
So what made you want to come to me for prepping if you thought I was bat crazy at first?
The pandemic, right? We all went and stocked our freezers so you couldn't even see straight. Yeah, I know you didn't. After, this.
And we're in an election season right now.
Election that's going on.
People are talking about civil war and civil unrest and.
Yep.
Whether you see it now or you see it later, you need to start preparing now.
The troll.
Now let's see. So they think, Elder Lawyer, that something might go down during the election or near the election time that may lead to some level of civil unrest. And NATO is putting out there to prepare for civil unrest during the election. I'm going to tell you that right now. Let's talk about this real quick. And I want to show this before we open up the lines, but a few things I wanted to read real quick beforehand. What is this? OTAN, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Resilience, Civil Preparedness, and Article 3. Each NATO member country needs to be resilient in order to withstand a major shock, such as a natural disaster, failure of critical infrastructure, a hybrid armed attack. Resilience is the individual and collective capacity to prepare for, resist, respond to, and quickly recover from shocks and disruptions, and to ensure the continuity of the alliance activities. Civil preparedness is a central pillar of allies' resilience and a critical enabler in the alliance's collective defense. NATO supports allies in assessing and enhancing the civil preparedness. Rooted in Article 3 of the North Atlantic Treaty, national and collective resilience are an essential basis for credible deterrence and defense, and are therefore vital for NATO's efforts to safeguard societies, populations, and shared values. And folks, they've been putting this out there for a long time, that a lot of what NATO and others are preparing for has little to do about real quick, what's going on over there in Ukraine is posturing them to actually be able to parlay some of those troops in the United States, into the United States, if there's some unrest near the election. I'm just putting that out there. Now, because I don't believe, Elder Lawyer, that the current administration is going to go out quietly. There's too much. There's too dependent on being able to control what's left of the Treasury. So that's a whole nother conversation in of itself. But she was dropping it. That NATO was telling people, hey, something is coming.
Seconds or less.
Something is coming.
You get, how do you handle that? Like, how do you?
I don't read the comment section. I don't. Like, I try not to engage. And I have to remind myself that everybody has an opinion on everything.
This worked for 8 hours.
A lot of judgment I get on prepping is the financial aspect of it. However, we preserve food and we buy it in bulk and we make it last a long time. And we're able to actually cut down most of our grocery bill by buying 1 for now, 2 for later, and building up a stockpile.
That one's mean.
Some of the other negative feedback I've gotten is threats towards my family, people saying that I live in fear or that my family constantly lives in fear. We actually don't fear a lot of things. We just prep for everything. I'll take the hate and I'll take the negative.
So they call her names, Elder, and they claim that she lives in fear. Let me tell you, I seen the fear in people's eyes, Elder Lawyer, during the so-called pandemic. When they went to the supermarkets and there wasn't any products, where there was a few cans on the shelves. You want to see fear? Where then you got the Muslim hustlers in Philadelphia was selling toilet paper and all that out of I don't know where they got it from, out of the back of their trucks. Right? So if you want to talk about fear, people try to project and say if someone is preparing for an emergency that's coming afar off, that they're the scared ones or the fearful ones. No, they're the smart ones.
Right. Yeah, that's a Jedi mind trick. Like, who's in fear? The person who's building a boat in preparation for the flood, or the people who's drowning in the flood?
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
If that means that somewhere out there that there's a person who in a natural disaster knows what to do. I'm not expecting the worst thing to happen. You don't go buy car insurance and life insurance expecting to die.
So Elder Lawyer, let's contrast this real quick. Let's contrast this. Real quick. Let's contrast this real quick before I'm going to go through a few scriptures. And then we're going to open up the lines. We're going to contrast this. One moment. Real quick. 1 second. Right? Now let's see how, for those who missed it earlier, we're going to contrast this. You see how they're preparing their people and make sure their taxpayer money goes into preparation and all these others, and guess what? Their children are involved, and they're making sure there's no nut job liberals in their schools messing up their children too at the same time, because that's really undoing everything that the standard you've set at home. What parent will allow their children to be raised by liberal nut jobs? Okay, so in these other areas, in the red states, in the red areas, they control their schools. These women do. They control the curricula, and the nut jobs are told you need to go into the city somewhere, and and try to get a job over there. You're not going to be around our children. The freaks and crazy people out of their minds are being sent into the inner cities to mess our children up. right? So then you get a brother who's saying, well, listen, I want an environment like Karen has.
Right.
And this is what he get.
Create a citywide emergency. One man. And keep in mind, not a white man, but an African American.
Listen, now the lawyer, he wants to go into the inner city schools so that our schools can be on par with Karen schools. And I'm going to show you what he get. He gets surrounded. This is what he gets.
And they got to come up with a way to clear this out because they can't let a black man speak for 3.
He gets surrounded by police because he don't want his daughters, the young girls growing up, that thinking that it's okay to use their body for bartering. Where these schools are telling them or leaving no choice for them but to use their bodies because what? The education system stinks. So in order for our young girls to get by, they have to think about, well, maybe I need to give up my body for a long period of time until I have enough resources to not live that lifestyle.
Right.
Or to have our sons learning from a bunch of liberal nut jobs, and on top of that, making sure that our children are on all types of psych meds and all these others and can't read past the 3rd, 4th grade level. He's saying, listen, we need God in these schools. We need some intentions towards morality in these schools, only to be surrounded by police. Now let's contrast that. Look at what's going on amongst the other people and how they're preparing for what's going on. And look what the government, with paid taskmasters who look like us, are doing to stop our people from progressing, let alone preparing. Let alone preparing. So we have to go into some solutions. Let's go there. And let me tell you, at the end of the day, it's really, I'm not saying prepping is the all to end all, because guess what? It's all about the Most High. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you right now, it's the Most High that can cover us, hedge us, and get us through these troubles according to the word. But one will be a fool to think that it will only take faith. Faith without works are dead. Okay? Joseph had faith when the Most High showed 7 years famine, 7 years plenteous. So did Joseph in Egypt, did he sit on his hands for those 7 years of plenteous? Or he prepared for the storm that was coming? He didn't say, well, I got a faith in the God of our father Abraham, and through that, I'm not going to do nothing. He's just going to help me through this. Or was Joseph put to work to sustain the whole Mesopotamia area during that time? And that's the mistake we make as a people. We're spiritual people. We're people of faith. But we believe that's all needed. Faith without works is dead. Elder Lawyer, what say you? You have anything you want to go into before we transition over? But, I wanted to talk about, okay, so what should we do? Because if you're operating alone, you're not going to make it. If you're operating as an individual, you're not going to make it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had a few things, but I think for the sake of time, I'll just go through the scriptures that we had listed.
Okay, let's go.
All right, Jeremiah 30 and verse number 1.
Okay, let's get it there. And if you can still preface some of what you wanted to talk about, even if we don't go into all the scriptures, just to make sure the details are out there that can help people in times such as this, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jeremiah 30, let me pull it up here. Yes, sir, if you will.
All right, Jeremiah 30, verse number 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord God of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book, for lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord.
And we're in that time, which is the awakening. The children of Israel are waking up all over the earth right now. That's bringing again the captivity, bringing into our memory that we were the people that was prophesied to go into captivity according to an age-old curse. Now, that knowledge has begun to come back to us. Read.
And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it.
Read.
And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah.
So at the end of the day, a remnant of us will make it into the land after the war. But again, if you're in those regions, back up off of those Middle Eastern regions. The Bible prophesied that all of that will be leveled before Christ returns. Now, these are the words the Most High spake concerning Israel and Judah. What would it take for us to get to that land eventually flowing with milk and honey? 5.
For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace.
Everyone is focusing on us now as a people, the awakening. Why? Well, it was by default. Our destruction and curse in of itself, folks, allowed the Gentiles to gain power, riches. See? Their riches is actually measured by who? By how poor they can keep the children of Israel. The systems they put in place is just that. When we begin to awaken, then that takes away from what? Their power. That takes away from their resources because what? We're not satisfied with the status quo anymore. We don't think that we've been predetermined to stay on the bottom. We're starting to ask the right questions now that we know the truth concerning our heritage. We're asking the right questions politically and all of that, and that's destabilizing everything. So now all the Gentiles have begun to rally together to say, well, okay, they know now. And that's why the Lord says, hey, you're going to get the land, but it's going to stir up the Gentiles whose riches are made off of the fact that my people are at the bottom. So when you begin to wake up, you're going to start asking the right questions. You're going to start challenging the immorality and the hypocrisy of this world, and the Gentiles are going to begin to conspire on the next level against you. See? We have heard a voice of trembling and of fear and not peace. Read.
Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness.
The Most High is showing our people going through hell on earth. Government intrusion on our people. It's like a grown man, in birth pains, crying and screaming like a woman having a child. Read.
Verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
This is why all nations are focused on us, folks. It is now Jacob's trouble, because they need to do whatever they can to keep us on the bottom now that we've awakened. So they're seeking to do what? Cut us off financially, cut off all resources, make no way for us to actually be able to climb, past the middle class if we wanted to. They're making sure there's no generational wealth that can be left to our children. They're saying we'd rather bankrupt the country and give it to illegals. People who have no stake in America. We would rather give it to them and have you suffer. That's Jacob's trouble. We'd rather open up the country like the East Indians and others, where Kamala family's from, and give everything your people bled and sweat and died for to them and her people. And on top of that, we're not even going to give you a choice not to choose her and her people. Now what? It's Jacob's trouble. And I'm going to show you some hypocrisy out there. Right there, Elder Lawyer, real quick. Speaking of Kamala, real quick. Here's the hypocrisy that goes on amongst our people. Janet Jackson just lost her brother Tito. She's back on the scene promoting her new thing that she's be dealing with. And because it's an election cycle, you got an East Indian woman asking her whether or not she's going to support the first black president by the name of Kamala. East Indian woman gaslighting Janet. And Janet was like, well, hold up. She's not black. As far as I know, she's East Indian. That's what Janet said. And I'm going to show you the hypocrisy of our people. You got more people online going against Janet, whose family, she's a real black woman who understands our experience. And everyone is jumping down her throat for Kamala, who's not like us. How backwards can our people be? You claim that you're for a black woman when Kamala claims to be one running for president. But you are against a black woman who you grew up knowing, who's a part of your experience. That's how crazy and hypocritical this United States has become. Where you claim you're standing for a black woman, but you're going against a real black woman who grew up as Penny on Good Times, who can relate to our struggle. And you wonder why we going through trouble. We never side on our own interests. And guess what? And that's part of the problem. That's part of our trouble, is that you would think that our people would rally together in the time of the awakening to protect and be down with one another. No wonder we're going through so much trouble. At last, Elder Lawyer?
Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it.
It is what?
It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
It is the time of Jacob's trouble. And not only that, that sister is an icon, if you want to call it that. That sister contributed something to the culture for our people. Whether you agree with it or not, what have Kamala have done for us? We should take that as an insult. That we would actually talk down on our own sister who have our experience for a stranger who was propped up before us, who don't have our interest at heart. And I'm going to tell you, it's a shame, because sometimes when you look at it, it seems like our people are getting exactly what we ask for, what we vote for. But then on the other end, when the people, when they start taking everything away, you're going to start complaining when this is what you asked for. Jacob's trouble. Come on, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 8. For it shall come to pass in that, Salakia, but he shall be saved out of it.
So eventually there'll be a remnant saved out of this. Those who know better, who understands how to prepare, who know that no person alone can do this alone. It's an impossibility. And to make sure you just like you seen that woman who began to what? Set a community with a thought towards what would happen, in worst case scenarios. You have to make sure where you live at, around where you are, that there's some people who see this thing like you do, not to publicize it, but you have somebody around more than yourself who can prepare it in a time of an emergency. Okay? Where you're not alone when the stuff breaks out. For it shall come to pass, Elder Lawyer 8.
For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him.
And that's what they are afraid of. Us knowing the truth where Israel is breaking the yokes off of our necks, folks. And with that breaking of the yoke, we're now asking more intelligent questions. And we're speaking truth to power. And folks, they don't like that. See? When the Most High break that yoke off of us, we start looking at everything equitably according to the word of God and deal with fairness according to the word. And we're looking at this and looking at what's going on politically and saying, listen, we've been voting for ourselves for how long? Show me how anything y'all talking about in the electoral process, show me how that's going to help our people as the children of Israel, God's people. When really we know the political process is about what? Financial allocation. Who's going to control the finances for a set amount of time and through what organizations? That's what the whole system is about, folks. Who's going to control us with what? With the financial distribution. And through that, keeping us on the bottom and allocating all the money to the Gentiles who have always enslaved us. See, but when you find the Bible and find the truth of yourself, guess what? You don't accept just being on the bottom. While someone can come from a dirt road somewhere from Tibet or a Hindu, somewhere from a dirt road in East India, come to America and automatically, after being on a dirt road 3 days before then, have a higher status than you. When your family bled for this country to become what it's become. So we're not accepting it anymore. Not anybody with any common sense. And they don't like that. So they're going to start doing what? They're going to start putting more bonds on our people, more restrictions on our people. And then they're going to start threatening our people outright, especially our sisters, who've always been the backbone of the Democrat Party, as they claim. They're going to threaten our sisters. They're going to tell them, either you stay on the plantation and vote and convince everyone else to vote like we say and vote, or we're taking away all of your housing and no more social programs for you. That's the real threat, folks. That's the threat. Either you get everybody back on board and have them stay satisfied at the bottom, or we're going to take what's ever left. Anything we've given you, we're going to take it away. That's the threat. Hope y'all ready. Read.
Yes, sir. If I can add to that real quickly, I think this last point where it says the strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, I think this also lends to what we saw in one of those earlier videos with the brother who went into the school. The scripture says, train up a child in the way that they shall go.
Exactly.
So it seems like, and we saw the disparity between how other people are being trained up and how our children are being trained up. And it seems like with this great disparity of how we're being trained up, we're being more so trained to deal with menial labor, menial tasks. We're being trained to fill prison population. We're being trained to be criminals based on the lack of education we're receiving in these institutions, in these schools.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like we're being fed to be the continual service class. And what's happening is the Most High is breaking that cycle. So where no longer will we fit into those particular sectors of just continual servitude, continual labor, continual imprisonment. So we see what's going on with them bringing people over and actually taking away even that aspect. I mean, at least we could operate within that service class, but even that's being taken away.
Exactly.
But I don't think that that's by chance. I think obviously there's the political agenda, but then the Most High is also breaking a cycle in which now we have to think outside of just feeding this cycle of being the continual service class of this earth.
Yeah. And then and I'm glad you brought up that point. So it's like, so you're not satisfied with your little comfortable position on the bottom, huh? Well, we're going to give we're going to have people who would actually, break their necks and give up a family member to have your low spot.
Mm.
Okay. We'll give some people an opportunity to have the American dream. And even at the bottom of where we are, that's paradise compared to where they're from. And this is why so many people come into the country and they began to talk down and claim that our people are lazy and others, because why? They think that there's some level of not appreciating our position here, when they'll be comfortably entrenched at the bottom.
Right.
See, but it's deeper than appreciation. See, we have a different perspective because we've always fought against injustice. And guess what? No one gave us nothing. We were left to die after being given away by our own people, sold into slavery, and we fought for everything we received here. America never gave us anything. Any privilege that's even be given to immigrants is because we were willing to stand up and fight and not be rolled over like a lot of these other people from other countries are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the straight disrespect I be hearing sometimes, where they'll come over and say, well, you should appreciate this, when you don't even understand that no one ever gave us anything. We fought.
Right.
Anything that you think is a privilege, they owe us even more.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This is everything that they've given you, we fought for. So they'll come over here with some type of thwarted mentality, as if, man, hey, I'll dump this trash if they don't want to. They're lazy. What are you talking about? See, that wage means something from where you come from. But we understand that that isn't enough when we see what Jewish people get who weren't in Germany, who are United States citizens, and what they get you got Jewish people who weren't over there, but they're still benefiting from what happened over there. We see how other people are always propped up over us while our people suffer. And above all, our God see it. So these brothers and sisters, when they come over here, they have this thwarted mentality to look down or to try to claim that our people are lazy, shiftless, and all this other stuff, not realizing what it took for them to actually have an opportunity to be here.
Right.
So we stopping that nonsense at the door. Okay? Because we have family that have bled in every war. We had family who bled in wars before there was any such place called the United States of America on this soil that gives you the privilege to come over here and call us lazy. See, but that's what they bank on. They bank on with that divide and conquer tactic to try to find people like that, who view things, who see us like the enemy sees us.
Right.
So we're going to get right on that too. You're going to appreciate the children of God who was thrown away from nothing but still stood 10 toes down to make sure you would have something in the future. Why? Because after being thrown away, we had no place to go. We had to fight. We had to stand up, and we did this as the minority. And we stood with our God. We stood with our Bible, and had a fortitude. We had something in us that no other nation, no other people could compare to. Okay, so don't come over here with that stuff trying to look down on your own brothers and sisters. It's going to be our experience that's going to get you through this.
Mm-hmm.
What we went through here and what God has shown us through this word of God after going through what no other people have gone through, it's that experience that's going to guide all of us through this. What say you, other lawyer?
No, sir. That's pretty much it. I'm not sure if you had a few more you wanted to get, a few more references, or you want to go straight to the cause.
Well, I need you to go, elder lawyer, where it says, when someone see a storm coming, they prepare.
All right.
Real quick. And we'll leave it there and open up the cause. 1 second. When rain is coming, one prepares.
All right. I'm not sure what this is. Proverbs 20. What's this? Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished.
That's one, but there's another one where it says when someone sees the rain coming, when they see a storm coming, they prepare, but no one is actually preparing for the coming of our Lord. Right?
I know what you're talking about.
Hold on, I'll get it real quick. I'll get it. When one see the clouds forming, we perceive that it's rain. Hold on.
All right, Matthew 16.
Let's get it. I think that's it. Let's read it.
Matthew 16:1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came tempting, desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven.
That's it.
He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather.
So when it's evening, you say it will be fair weather. Read.
For the sky is red.
So you can read what's really going on if when you want to. So when you see the sky is red, you know that it's coming into evening, right? When it's evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. So you can actually look at things and perceive what it is when you want to. Read.
And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering.
So when you wake up and see the sky red and lowering, and it gets a little dark, you start to perceive that the weather might be foul today. So you began to understand, okay, I can't wear my regular spring stuff. I probably need to put on something based on the weather changing here. Read.
O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times?
Woo! You can discern the face of the sky. When you see clouds forming, you go right upstairs or go downstairs, and you do what? You grab your umbrella. You're prepared for the rain. You grab your raincoat. You're preparing for the rain. That's why he says you hypocrites, because you know something is coming. And you know, in any other instance, you would have prepared against it. You would have prepared for it. But you hypocrites, you cannot discern the signs of the times. Jacob's trouble. You're not going to prepare for that. And I'll leave it there, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
And before I go, we in here thick. We got about almost 3,000 people. Thank you, brothers and sisters. And I wanted to say right now again, we're having some issues right now discussing with Cash App. So no longer send Cash App until a further report, until a future report on whether or not we'll use that going forward, okay? But in the meantime, you can go to gatheringofchrist.org if these particular broadcasts have helped you. Go to Gathering of Christ to continue to support the work, because we need your support, brothers and sisters. All right? You go to gatheringofchrist.org and what? Let me show you here. gatheringofchrist.org/donate. Okay, you go directly there to help support the work. We have Zelle, we have Zelly, we have PayPal, we have through credit card, check or money order. Right now, don't use Cash App, just any of these, and you can just hit donate. And right here, you can actually put your information in. It's private and protected. And then you can choose off of this list right here. If it's for the broadcast, you hit Elder Ricard offerings or donations or whatever the case is, or the broadcast. You would put the broadcast here and use that instead of Cash App right now. Okay? If it's tithes and offerings towards a church, well, you can just pick a church, or if there's other reasons for you to donate, you can go right here for any reason and put in comments, and whatever you put in the comment you want us to use the money for, that's what it will be used for, okay? But right now, we're in conversations to find out what's going on with Cash App. I hear a lot of people are having issues with that. I'm going to leave it there until further, but I would rather you go to gatheringofchrist.org/donate to continue to support the church if you were supporting otherwise. I mean, in the past. And those who haven't supported yet, here's your opportunity. Go to gatheringofchrist.org/donate and support this work. This is a work that's sent from the heavens, and we're here to bring forth the word in preparation for what's to come. And none of that could be possible without your support. That's gatheringofchrist.org/donate. Okay? Now, also, we're taking enrollments for the next Hebrew and Bible Academy. There's a lot of things going to be popping off near the election time, and I'm going to make sure that we're linked in for the academy during that time in preparation for what's to come. And the theme for the next academy will be the fall of the last empire. We're going to have I'm going to tell you, this lesson is going to be the lesson of lessons in prophecy, leading from the fall of Babylon all the way to the fall of current day Babylon, which is America. We're going to replace the 4 beasts of Daniel one session for that particular lesson. The fall of the last empire will be the theme, and that will be a groundbreaking lesson showing how the other empires fell, and to show you the signs of those falling, how close we are as America falling like those particular empires. There were certain things politically going on that led to those empires losing their strength and power and dominion over the earth. And you would be surprised how close America is to its fall. But unless you understand the history of the other empires, you'll never understand how close we are. America is finished. This is why they've allowed all of the nations to come through and take everything that's left of her, leaving her naked and destroyed, so that they can speed up the process. There's too much money in the treasury for them right now that could probably sustain America way more years than they would like. So they dealt with the money grab and giving it to everybody so that they can pull the plug on America early. Now, does that mean the country isn't going to exist? Of course, the country was the country Arzareth before it was called America. But it will not resist as a superpower. And that and more will be discussed in the next academy. And if this interests you, please go to historytimes.org. All right. So now, Blog Talk is open. We have 30 minutes, but we're only going to take 15 minutes of that. 515-605-9327. What say you? Here's your opportunity. Hold on. Here's your opportunity. Okay, that's better there. All right. Here's your opportunity. Come on in. Okay, that's better there. That's kind of better. Yeah, that's good. All right. 515-605-9327. I think I finally got this thing right, Elder Lawyer. So let's call in the Blog Talk. And I will soon be making trips. I'm thinking about setting trips soon to go to the UK, if it be the Most High's will, United Kingdom, and travel to a lot of the areas that I didn't travel, that I never visited since being back here in the Americas. So, all right, I'll be doing a lot of traveling, and make sure you keep your ear to the ground. I'll let you know our next location. It's time to spread the word, get a lot out before this so-called election. All right. 515-605-9327.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Unmuted.
All right, thank you, Elder Dell and Elder Yarack for monitoring things. My blessed brothers, elders, thank you for all those who work towards keeping this church afloat. The blessed officers and all those who support the work behind closed doors. Yeah. And thank you, Elder Ramar, for holding serve here for Blog Talk. 515-605-9327. Our beloved brother, Kayem. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder.
How are you, sir?
Pretty good, sir. Double honor to all the leadership here, Elder. Thank you guys so much, Elder. And again, Elder, you definitely bring what we need in the time. Elder, I just want to speak on what I'm seeing because I do loss prevention again, and I'm seeing from a lot of people that come in the stores, it's like it's a spirit on them, Elder. Like, I mean, it's so much stuff going on. I think it's, it's what you said a long time ago, how they're going to close these stores. So, Elder is definitely giving us the right information for us to get our own grow our own crops and get our own animals, because the mindset of all people, it's not just our people, it's all people coming in there. They're not being prioritizing their wages, and they're coming in there and it's taking so much product, and eventually they're gonna look at the numbers, like you said a long time ago, Elder, and say, you know what, we're not making no money off this, and shut it down. And it brings me to Matthew 15 and 13, Elder, where it states this. One second, I'm gonna read this 1 second real quick.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And it says this. This Matthew 13 and 15, and it reads, For this people heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull, and hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their hearts, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Now, Elder, if we do as a people what the Most High requires, then we can be protected in this, like you say all the time. I thank you so much for leadership, bringing forth the names that we can call on in the time of trouble. And I know that this is what is needed, and I just thank you guys so much, all the elders and all the bishops and all the all the officers and all the deacons. Just thank you guys so much for the hard work, and all praise to the Most High, Elder.
Well, thank you, brother. And your scripture was poignant. And hey, blessed are your eyes that you see. And it's good that we have strong brothers like you, with us in this spiritual war at a time such as this, brother. So until I see you, you stay blessed, brother. And hey, let's finish. All right.
Yes, sir. Water.
All right. Are you in the bar? Great call, Kayam. That's a good brother. I think her name is Sharia. Sharia has a comment. It's a shame what they're doing to us, our children in these schools, and there's no pushback at all. It's a shame. Sharia, how are you?
Yes. Hello. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is AHAYAH. Talk to me.
Yes. Well, I have a comment and a question. I meant to tell them both, but start with the comment. I just wanted to tell you, I enjoy listening to your music that you produced.
Thank you.
Especially the song "Shame," the one I hear Jacob
crying. Yeah, shame. Yeah, my nephew.
Yes, and it's a beautiful song, and it just shows that, as you were talking about, as we are trying to get through Jacob's troubles.
Yeah.
And also, I have a question. So I had watched one of your late videos before, and shows regarding like these end time prophecies being fulfilled. And you had the one where they had allowed people to have the opportunity to receive it when it comes to the end, to receive a mark, like as far as like a something injected in your hand, or there will be a mark in their forehead.
Yeah.
And it speaks of that as well as in the Bible.
Yes.
And so if they did receive this mark, how does that work? How would that work? Because you did have like a lot of information on it in your older video. How would that work when you go out to make purchases or to go get things in everyday society for receiving that mark in your right hand or in your forehead? How would that work?
Well, it's going to work sort of what's going on now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They already have the technology in place. And the technology in place, right now they're using your phone. You can click on your phone or you can tap. Well, that tap isn't going to be anymore with your phone. It's going to be a microchip in you where if you put your hand up with your biometrics, along with that registry of that RFID in your body, that's going to be the purchase card. You will be the card. For those who decide to get that, they will be the currency that's utilized. By not tapping their card, they're conditioning people to just put their hand there. And it'll read if the RFID is in their head or in their hand, it'll be automatically registered in their body. And see, and this goes back to allegedly, and I'm going to talk about this, the prepping the body with that protein that can go into your cells and replicate. That's really turning people into a certain almost, I would say not non-human, but it's a process of genetic change. Okay. When you look at Elon Musk Neuralink, it states right here to create a generalized brain interface to restore the autonomy to those with unmet medical needs today and unlock human potential tomorrow. So it's about connecting our minds, or not minds, because I ain't getting this garbage, to the beast. So the Neuralink is all about, they always push stuff through so-called medical. to make people think that it's science, revolutionary science that would benefit, when really a lot of this stuff is really the mark of the beast. But first, they had to get the bodies prepped to receive it. And whoever gets this, get these things done into themselves, according to the Bible, they're going to be in the sunken place forever. Okay, in a nutshell, there'll be something else controlling their bodies. And Revelation says that they will burn in hell for giving. This is the ultimate example of one selling their soul.
Yes.
This would be the most. This would be the antipodes of that particular phrase. One sold their soul. You're literally selling your soul.
Yes.
Okay.
For an exchange of goods, I guess, in America.
Yeah. In order to be able to continue to actually operate on the grid, you're going to have to compromise your body. Okay. Now, initially, all of this is going to come off as if it's some type of revolutionary science, after them dumb down the world through their products and others. And they're going to claim that that if you got brain issues, if you have autism or whatever, they can make you out to be a genius in no time by downloading some intel in you. And next thing you know, your family going to be like, man, I know you couldn't read, but now you're Einstein. Oh, because someone have put a Einstein download into that person. Is it truly your family member? Right? So, so that's and not only that, it's going to change science forever when it comes to hospital doctors and all that, because once this spike protein connects to all of these tentacles and these what you would call electronic tentacles within your body, once that happens, then what need would you have of a doctor? They can pull you up and be able to read what's in your chip and be able to see your vitals, understand what's going on with your body and everything, and diagnose you and to some degree fix you right there without even giving you medication. So these are the miracles and things that are coming through this new transhumanism. That's the word that I was missing. That's really the mark of the beast. And what we did, we went through the first phase of it when they shut everything down, and through some experimental stuff or whatever the case is, whatever bodies made it through and didn't pass away, well, these bodies, the same people who thought to follow that stuff that happened years ago, they're going to be the same ones that are prepped out of their minds to get the next stage of their evolution. Let me keep it there. Okay?
So, but also, okay, so when they are able to use that, like you were saying, to make their purchase, are they giving them a set amount of money to spend already, according to the chip, or do they already know what they already make or have, or income, as far as their income? So,
well, of course, they're going to a socialist world order. So if you want to work on the grid and be able to purchase and operate within the system, you're going to have to compromise. Well, that's what they think the majority of people will do. Or you just won't have access to the grid. The example we had was when COVID, when the coronavirus came around, businesses were all lockstep in what? In all of the procedures and all these others, that in order for you to actually interact in business, you had to follow the status quo. Under some circumstances, they had it where if you didn't have a vaccine card, you couldn't get into a business to sit down and have something to drink or something to eat with your family. Well, that set the stage for, hey, either you're going to be on the grid and operate with us people that are on the grid, or you're not invited in because you're the threat. See? So they've already set the stage, I would say almost a mock example of what the world would be when they pull out the mark of the beast. Okay, they're going to set the standard and say, well, okay, hey, you can't come in unless you follow these particular procedures. It's just, and then you know what they're going to say. I'm just doing my job. All right, thank you, sister.
You're right. Thank you so much for your help, and you have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Very good phone call. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Nicole has a comment and/or question.
Shalom, Elder. How are you this evening?
How you doing, Nicole? I know you every time you come, you bringing the heat. I know you got something you want to talk about. Talk to me.
Well, I tell you, I am just completely in agreement with you regarding how we are treating Janet compared to Scamala. I call her Scamala sometimes. But she, those remarks that D.L. Hughley, how he viciously attacked Janet for her comments, all she was just making the point is, hey, I heard she was white. And for him to come back and say, well, Janet was wrong and giving out misinformation, and she's breathing through a white woman's nose. And I mean, it was just vicious. It just goes to show you, like what you said a few minutes ago, just how messed up we are as a people, the stupor that we're under, and just it's just unbelievable. I was very disappointed in him as a brother, a high-profile brother who tried to act like he's down with the people and all of that stuff. But for him to go after her in such a vicious way, it was just beyond the pale. And it goes to show you that, that scripture where, well, it's basically we just don't even have any affection for our own. It's all about just trying to save your own butt. I don't know if they have something on him or what the deal is. Because, a few years ago, when she ran for president, he was very critical of her, and then he tucked his tail. I guess I don't know if they pulled up something on him or if they gave him some money, and he not only was buck broken, but they even made him show up at the DNC convention where he was singing her praises and apologizing for the things that he said about her that was supposed to be wrong. And so anyway, I was just commenting on that, but I really wanted to mention about Candace Owens and this other black grassroots media guy named Black Alpha. I don't know if you've seen any of his YouTube, but they both pulled out some incredible receipts on Miss Scamala yesterday, talking about, they showed that the woman that was in the photograph with her, that she claimed in her book, put a picture of this woman in her book, claiming that this was her paternal grandmother. And it turns out that that woman, her real paternal grandmother, died in 1960.
She wasn't living, sister, she wasn't even, here it is, she wasn't living when her grandmother died.
Exactly. And then they pulled up the birth certificate of this woman.
I seen it.
The death certificate of this woman. And I was like, okay, now they have a picture of Kamala's grandfather, her father's father. So he looks completely white. And now it's also been unveiled that they had over 1,500 Jamaican slaves.
Yeah.
I mean,
really, real quick, I'm gonna let you go, but really, they were saying that that black woman was more so like the help of her family, allegedly. And and the whole deal is they used the Barack Obama model. Because there was some mysterious question. There was some questions going on concerning Barack Obama's background that his book filled in the blanks that would endear him to the black community, because he really had no connection with us. So they were doing the same thing to try to shape this black woman narrative, knowing that they would use her in the United States, as a political hard hitter. And they would do this through the same model with a book and all of this, like they did with Barack Obama. But now people started looking into Barack Obama. There were some questionable things there, but still we weren't going for it, okay, because that was the first time that our people thought we would ever experience anything like that. But guess what? Fool me once, shame on me.
Shame on me.
So they listen. So They trying to do the same model with her by cobbling together some black story to make us believe there's some black ancestry there that relates to us. And in the book, let me tell you, Candace. No, I'm saying, but Candace blew the lid off of this one.
Oh yeah, and see with Barack, at least he has the Kenyan father, but with her father.
I'll tell you what.
An Irishman, and he was married to an Irish woman. It really brings forth Numbers 118 like never before.
Well, sister,
pedigree has to go through that father.
Sister, let me Sister, let me say this. We believe he had a Kenyan father. I'm gonna tell you, we believe this because the whole deal is, man, there's a lot of things when it comes to these Manchurian candidates that are raised politically. Sometimes these children are taken from war-torn countries and raised by liberals and Marxists and all that to become political assets that can be utilized using the face.
You said he was groomed. I remember you saying
that.
No,
that's what I'm saying. So let me tell you, we cannot believe anything we read or see because they can shape a narrative to sell anyone politically. I mean, don't forget, they have successfully between 4 to 8 years, between 4 years, have sold us someone who claimed to be an Asian and took 4 years to actually sell her to our people as a black woman. So
amazing. I tell you, the power and the pride of Esau is unmatched, I swear. But let me ask, as I close, I just want to ask on behalf of my daughter. She spoke with you, I think, on Friday about her version of To Zion that she sent you through the email. She's probably at teaching right now. She teaches private violin. But she wants to know if you had opened it yet and listened to it.
Okay, I'm glad you reminded me, okay? Because I was away on Tabernacle.
Yeah, you were still at Tabernacle.
Yeah. So let her know. Let her know. Let her know right after this broadcast. I'm going to pull it up right now, and I'm going to listen to it. All right?
Well, let me say that all of the instrumentation and the arrangement, it was all her. Every string that you hear was from her strings, from her playing. So there is no synthesizers, nothing like that. I helped her with the drums. You know, we did add the drums.
Okay.
But all of the strings that you hear is her. Just in case she didn't mention that in the email. So I hope you enjoy it. Maybe it's something you could use in between the academy when we're going from like the news to the lesson or whatever the case is. You know, I hope it's something that you can use, but I think she did a really good job. So.
All right. Well,
thank you so much.
I'm motivated to hear it. So after this, I will pull it up. Okay.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Thank
you.
I appreciate you, sister.
Good night to you.
All right. Bless you. Same to you,
Shalom.
Nicole. All right. Shalom. Deborah has a comment.
Shalom.
How you doing, Deborah?
For the world is not prepared for what's coming. I have some problems with that. I don't really have problems, but I have family where a lot of them and people I've grown up with in my churches and all, they're rejecting me. Long-time friends since first kindergarten rejecting me.
They're rejecting you for what? They're rejecting you.
I'm in a cult.
They're saying
that we talking long-time friends from like kindergarten all the way up. Well, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore because you're in a cult. Okay. All right. So I get that. Then I had a couple that are female ministers. Oh, well, if that's the way and all they feel about that, no, well, we don't want to have anything to do with you. I mean, Uncle.
Sister, this is how you turn it back on them. You turn it back on them by asking, how you treat me right now. Is that Christ-like?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you turned it back. Would Christ treat me like you treat me right now? Because Christ even interacted with those who disagree with him. He still died. He died for the sinners that disagreed with him. So would Christ treat me like you treat me right now? That's how you throw it back on him. Don't argue the points of a cult, because they couldn't give you the definition of a cult if you spelled it out and spelled it out of the Webster Dictionary for them. Okay?
Right.
Just because you don't ascribe to what they believe in anymore, automatically they're programmed to believe that it's a cult. Right? But at the end of the day, they're in the cult. They're in the cult. A matter of fact, I taught it in our academy how what Christianity today, what it's called today, was really a secret religion amongst the Romans called the cult of soul. The secret worship of the gods and goddesses. So they're projecting. And you know what? People, sister, just pray for your family and others, because why? Some people are just fearful of things they don't understand. So don't get frustrated. Pray for them.
I don't get frustrated about it. It's like, I've been...
Your phone, it sounds like your phone, sound like you're underwater, sister, with your phone. Your phone is very,
okay, so
very
yeah,
bad.
I've been, really with GOCC and all since 2019. And I'm thinking, what's wrong? I just can't understand it. And then we have the families or whatever, where they have a vast amount of land. It's land everywhere, but nobody wants to come together and do what we're talking about that needs to be done right now. Getting prepped. It's like they're lazy. They just don't want to do it with all this land, with everything that you can do. If I could get somebody to come and all, and I have part of it too, to help me out, that would be fine. I need the help and all. It's just that they're actually rejecting me because of the way of my thinking and the way and all, I am right now, concerning the Most High. They have a problem with that.
Well, sister, I got to get to the next call, but all you got to do is stand on Christ and keep in mind there'll be two working in the mill. One will be taken and the other left. And you're going to be the one left.
Okay, and I had one more thing to say, and I don't know what happened, and maybe your moderator can tell me. I was removed from the chat, not that I have to be in it. The second thing and all, whatever, I did not get my certificate from the last academy.
Okay, I'll write that down. Well, sister, I'm more focused on the teaching than the moderation, so I would have to ask them in specific to why they moved you out of it. Usually we give a warning of something concerning before we actually make a move like that, a timeout or whatever, but we can fix that. That's no problem. Let me write your number down. 1 second. Don't say anything. Yeah. I'll write it down, Deborah. 1 second. Okay. And you said you need
I don't know reason why. I don't see anything. I never say anything, out of position.
Okay.
There, so
well, sometimes people, sometimes people make mistakes. Forgive us. But, we'll fix it. All right. All right. Let's see. Sometimes people are quick on the trigger, and sometimes what happens is if it's scrolling, they can make a mistake. What's your name? What's your name on YouTube?
Are they able to call me and I say that way?
Okay. Yeah. So don't worry about it. So I have your name here, Deborah. Have your phone number. You need certificate and need to be unblocked. All right, certificate.
It needs to be unblocked. And my final question,
hey, sister, hold on.
Can I preach or teach?
Sister,
is that in the Bible that I can preach or teach, or I'm not allowed to do either one of those? Am I?
Well, you are to be directed under a man who's in a church when it comes to your ministry, and whatever needed from that man. But you can't be in a position of the pulpit. But there are things many women show many people the word and all of that, and help other brothers and sisters come into it. But it's under the guidance of men. Okay? So I can answer that.
Okay, so
let us call you and continue the conversation because there's other people waiting, okay? All right, thank you. You're in the bar. All right. So certificate, thank you. I'm going to place you on hold. Thank you. All right. Corey has a question. Need certificate.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, how you doing?
Fine. I just had a question. Well, I just need some advice, rather. I have moved out of the city into the suburbs, and I made a little preparation for myself.
Okay.
And I found myself a little lonely, by myself out here.
Well, what city did you go into? I mean, brother, when you're making moves, I never suggest someone make moves individually. The Bible says that counsel go before every action. Because sometimes people spontaneously do something out of, for their own reasons, and that's fine. But I would never suggest an individual make a move like that without support. Because now you left to alleviate one issue, now you're dealing with a whole different issue. I would suggest that you went to a place where there's church members or anything like that. Are you baptized?
Yes.
Okay, in what city were you baptized under? Detroit?
Yes.
Did you speak to Elder Dell before making this move?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
No, I didn't. So this is my suggestion to you. Call Elder Dell, and he'll guide you on what to do next. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it. And
yes,
stay safe out there, and because you don't be just rolling up by yourself into an area. You may be where some where some hoods are, some white sheets. So, brother, don't jump out of the frying pan into the fire. Okay, get directed. Make sure you're directed before you make moves like this. Okay, we're coming into some serious times. You probably moved around some card carrying KKK members. Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way.
Hey, brother. Hey, you seen the movie Get Out? Get Out. Call Elder Dell, okay?
I sure will.
All right, my brother. Shalom.
Shalom.
My brother, Lord. People be spontaneously making moves and call us afterwards. Like, Elder, I don't know what they chanting over there. What they chanting over there? What's happening here? You know what I mean? He's under a brush. You know what I mean? There's a bonfire, and they see the bonfire is for you. Man, it's getting hot. It's getting hot around here. Next thing you look up, that's you cooking. Get out. 313, Ryan has a comment.
Shalom, Elder. This is Sister Ryan. My last name is Ryan.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. This is my first time calling in, and I was feeling the anxiety. I said, wow, now I know what Sunshine goes through. No, but this lesson was great. This broadcast, I really enjoyed this broadcast a lot. And I like what you showed with the preparation lady off of YouTube. Because I watch a lot of you prepping.
Okay.
And I've been in the house I'm in now for like 13 years now, as well as I bought the house right behind me. I'm in the city, and I bought the house right behind me, so I have more space in the city, and so we have also purchased chickens and things of that sort. So therefore, I've been always had a garden.
Good.
Since I've been in, and
good for
then
you.
So I was feeling grateful to the Most High that we were able to get the house right behind me, where we can expand the garden. what happened was he blessed us where we can actually get chickens, you know what I'm saying, through one of the sisters in the body.
Good.
And that was a really great blessing because I've been homeschooling also for like 7 years. My son, I started homeschooling him when he was 7 years old, and now he's 14.
Good.
And I have a 6-year-old daughter now, you know, and that's all she knows. She knows that it's harvest time, it's seed time, it's, you know, that's the life she knows is what the Most High intended for us to understand and know. And I feel really grateful for that. You know, I haven't even used any like over-the-counter medications as far as things for headaches and all that kind of stuff for as long as I've been in the truth. Now I joined GOCC in 2021.
Okay.
That was right after the pandemic because my church closed and all that, and they weren't trying to open back up. Blah blah blah. My son was already in, and he was like, "Mom, you should have been here. You already know all this stuff. I don't know what you're waiting for. You've outgrown that church." Blah blah blah. You know, stuff like that. So anyway, I just wanted to make the comment and say I appreciate everything that you do. I give double honors to all the elders. Elder Dale is like one of them magnificent. He's magnificent. He is awesome.
He is.
Just that you guys are so in tune with the Holy Spirit, you know, and it's a blessing. I feel enlightened and encouraged in all my steps, you know, because it helps me with my walk and to teach my children, because the church we were going to, it was a Bible teaching church, so we were doing well. And so it's pretty much every step we make in this life of ours here on this earth, on this side of life, is preparing us for what the Most High has for us. And the church we were going to that I chose to raise my children in actually was getting me prepared for GOCC, getting the children prepared for GOCC, because everything you're teaching is the same thing. We were learning the order. We were learning how to get ready for the end times. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Praise the Most High.
But it was still kind of under, it was not kind of, it was still under the modern day Christianity where they did, I do remember in one of the Bible studies they were talking and we spoke on how they said once saved, always saved. And I was like, I don't see how that works.
Yeah.
Because I understand that Christ says, depart from me.
Well, thank you.
What I'm saying?
Well, thank you, sister. And I'm glad you are part of the work, you and your family. Hold on tight. We're gonna be talking about the prep thing this coming Friday going forward. So I hope to see you there or hear you on Patreon, and I'm going to open up Zoom for that too, okay?
Okay, praise God. That'd be great.
All right. Thank you, sister.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Thank you so much for taking my...
Yeah, thank you, sister. Man, we got so many in the Spirit of the Most High, through the Spirit of the Most High, so many people in this truth now who've pivoted over from mainstream Christianity. What a blessing. What a blessing. And again, one man planteth, another man watereth, but it's the Most High who give the increase. You can't take nothing away from someone's journey. And Christ was with us the whole time, but eventually we'll all be with him. And that's including the former churches we were a part of. That was needed to keep us grounded at that time. You understand? But now the truth is here. Praise the Most High. Praise the Almighty. 859, I only have a few more. I'm going to just go through these. I have 2 more after this, and then I'll wish you all Godspeed. Leah has a comment. I'll get back with Leah. Leah, I'll get back in a moment. Your volume is very low. So I'm going to take these 2 and come right back. I don't know whether or not your Bluetooth or whatever. If so, take off your Bluetooth, please. All right, I'll be right back with you. 909 area code.
Shalom, elders.
Shalom. We're doing rapid fire. 1 minute per call. I'm at the top of...
Yes, sir. Okay.
Go for it. 10:30. Talk to us.
Okay, so I just wanted to make a comment on, excuse me, the portion where we talked about the inner city schools.
Yeah.
I worked as a teacher's aide, so I got to be able to see
everything in person, from inner cities to well-to-do areas. And the difference is night and day between how the staff behaves and how they interact with students in inner city schools versus in higher areas. And I just want to encourage parents that are in the situation that have to send their children to those inner city schools to really make your presence known amongst the teachers, amongst the schools, because a lot of the times parents that I've noticed, they didn't do that. And it was very easy for them to be influenced by the adults that they are around on campus versus outside of campus, like by the people who are supposed to protect them and love them. So I just want to encourage parents out there, young or older, just to really put in that time to really talk to your child about what's going on in the classroom, and make your presence known, because nobody is going to protect them more than you can.
You're right. You got to be more involved, because there's an influence one way or the other, and too many people fall to the wayside. Too many children fall to the wayside of these inner city schools, because it's a shame, but a lot of parents are too busy to be involved like they should be. They have to work or whatever the case is. But I was living in a time where even if the parents couldn't get to school all the time like other parents, the teachers were more responsible. They stood in to make sure the children received the attention that was needed. But these, right now it's just a paycheck. There's no pride in making sure that your students achieve anything in these inner city schools anymore. So, and that's the shame part about it. Well, thank you, sister.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
All right.
Water.
Ian DeBar, I appreciate your advice. Great advice. 708 area code, and then we'll go back to Leah. 708. Okay, let's go back to Leah. Last call for this evening. How you doing, Leah?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you now. What say you? The floor is yours.
I'm sorry. I actually had a question. I was calling on behalf of my father. Maybe since Monday, I've been in the hospital with him. He's brain dead and also, on life support. I was just wondering, he's been following you for quite some time, for some years. He actually got baptized by you not too long ago. I was just wondering if you could say a prayer or something before he goes. If he only has maybe a few hours, they say, or maybe a few days. I was just calling.
Well,
I don't know if you can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Is your father currently? Are you currently at the hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll go off of this one real quick. Hold on. And I will call you no sooner as the broadcast is over, and we'll say a prayer for your father.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So let's do this. Let's do this. And what was wrong with your father?
There was a lot of issues, but I guess the main ones would be he has heart failure, along with say he has.
How long has he been in the hospital?
I called in on Monday. About 4 a.m. on Monday.
Okay, Monday. And you say he's baptized in the church under what congregation?
I'm not exactly sure. I just know you and Elder Lawyer baptized him.
Was it our last baptism? What area? What area do you live in?
I live in Lexington, Kentucky. He drove, even in sickness, he drove like 8 hours to go.
Okay,
it was
so
like in a lake.
Okay, so he So he drove to the DMV area, or did he drive? Because we did one over in Las Vegas. So he must have went to the one.
No, it was.
Yeah. Okay, so he was at the DMV when we were in the DMV area. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And your father's name?
Lewis Jones.
Lewis. Okay. Well, just hold tight, and I'll call you as soon as the broadcast is done, all right?
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear about everything, but we'll pray with you. All right. Okay.
All right.
All right. All right, sister. I'll call you as soon as the broadcast is over. All right. All right, brothers and sisters, that concludes our broadcast. Is the world prepared? The world is not prepared for what's to come, but we must stay prayed up, sin not, and we will soon see Israel. Stay strong in the spirit, brothers and sisters, and above all, prepare. With that, I'm going to say shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. We will soon see Zion. Have a great night. We'll see you Friday on Patreon. Shalom. Blessings.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
The Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went.
Good night, lawyer.
The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Nepali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, yeah, the North American Indians, Simeon